Test.
Oh, we need to get our water totem. We run back to the crossroads first instead of hearthing. We're saving a hearthstone to use in the hills retro hills to return to crossroads quickly.
Long has it been since you were last tested, adventurer? You have shown patience thus far in your studies, but the time has come for you to learn more. The time has come for you to learn about the purity of water. Seek out Islan Waterseer in the Barrens. She is along the eastern coast, south of the South Fury River and Ratchet. You will find her there at her fishing hut. Good luck to you, adventurer.
Let's test that. So what I want to test is this. 'Cause I keep hearing mixed things about this. So from what I was told, it's got a 4-hour internal cooldown from being online. You have to be online for 4 hours, not 4 hour real time, 4-hour in-game time. We're gonna see how true that is, if that's the case.
That spell isn't ready yet.
Looking for something special?
Or silver? I mean, we could try selling it, I guess. That's right, I spent. No one bought my deviate scales. See, I don't think leatherworking's worth it.
How may I aid?
I'm gonna try to sell them again, but
I can't pass that yet. Charging.
oh my god, I didn't mean to do that. That's fucking annoying. That's also annoying. Now we have to go re-get our buff.
Welcome back to the channel. I'm gonna bring you through my secrets on my forum when it comes to chest today. So I'm gonna show you guys how I do chest, everything I'm doing, my mindset, my technique, everything on how I approach doing any type of chest pressing movement. So let's just really jump into it, okay? Okay. So I know I've done a bunch of videos before on chest techniques and forum whatnot, but I thought I'd just have a very like in-depth kind of like coaching session with you guys, like as if I was doing like a seminar and you were right there with me. So Erica behind the camera is gonna act like your eyes, and what would your eyes do? So as if you were here, you'd be able to see everything that I'm doing and what I'm gonna go over. So number one, however you train chest, know there's a bunch of different ways you can do chest. There's some very fundamental,
Wait, is it over?
proper, optimal ways to actually do chest in terms of like your body posture and activation, whatnot. And then
It's
there's
Monday.
other people's spin on things based on what they've done in the past or even just their entire like body structure. For me, it's gonna come from a powerlifting standpoint, a strength standpoint in terms of like training functionally, and then a bodybuilding like hypertrophy standpoint. On top of that, I've had shoulder injuries. So I tore like 20 years ago, it's crazy. I hit my shoulder at football and tore my shoulder. 20 years ago, I was hitting a game and my shoulder went bloop, pop right out my AC, and then I ended up playing, like, funny thing is my running back, one of the other running backs quit that game and I had to play the entire game like this. So shoulder was F for a bit. So now, it was a second degree AC tear, whatever. And whenever I do chest or triceps, my scap on this side eventually does this. So you guys wonder why my my arms are bigger on one side and another. It's because of that, literally. Before then, I was equal on both sides. Now this is a little bigger, this one, because neurologic and whatnot, my tricep isn't as big as this arm, and my bicep is almost as big. If you look at the biggest difference, it is my tricep. Anyway, so after a while when I'm pressing, when I start getting fatigued, I get fatigued in my scap and my traps start taking over. So when I'm talking about depressing your shoulder and everything like that, I'm doing this from a point of if you have shoulder injuries or whatever it is, my technique is solely based on making sure that I can keep my shoulders depressed this entire time, and then how do I do that successfully to make sure that I can press. So when I'm pressing, and for the most part when people start their setup, whatever, if they're a power lifter, most of the time they might kind of put their legs like this, you know, give themselves back like this, and you know, sometimes their feet touch the ground, sometimes they're not. It could be like lifted, or like mine, they're short, but either way you have this like, you're basically like this, and then you're catching yourself here. Some people will sit, grab here, get their feet here, and then slide themselves under like this, and then press. Others will go the other way first, so tuck their feet here, then reach back, and do this and then like realign themselves again. I will do something in between that. I'll have my feet, I'll know where I'm at basically when I sit down. I've always coached this before. It's like, having your feet underneath your heels, like your heels, underneath your knees, right? A level of that to create some type of leverage so your butt doesn't come off the ground. So when I'm here right away, I'll get to my spot and then I'll get down and I'll line myself. And again, we're just gonna do this on the Smith machine because I'm gonna transfer over to free weight after. But when I'm here, I get myself in alignment.
One sees that its reputation for strength
Right.
and speed is well earned.
If I'm on a Smith, then I can press to see like, okay, I'm too short. So I'll line myself back up and then I'll readjust my feet after. So I'll realign my feet here. So once I've got myself in place, I'll realign my feet, then I'll kind of tuck myself in a bit from here. This is where my feet are trying to go. I'm immediately thinking this, right? Extending my feet here, but I'm not necessarily extending them this way. I'm trying to push them into the floor. So you see my quads kind of do this and then my butt kind of does this, right? This is what I'm trying to base myself in this place, in this point here. Then when I have myself aligned with my hands, I'll adjust my shoulders and I'll push them down. I'll be like this. And it'll create an arch, natural arch. Get my shoulder blades underneath, so I'll try and pinch the middle of my lats, of my traps. So in the mid of my back, not up here, because again, I need to make sure I can do as much as I can to keep my shoulders down this entire time. So if I try to pinch the middle of my traps, not my upper traps, but the middle of my traps, like almost like if someone put a hole through my sternum, like right in my solar plex. So right here, part of my chest, if someone put a hole, or not a hole, someone just drove a stake down right down the middle here to the back, straight through, that's
Wait, what's going on with the weather? Getting crazy shit?
Yeah, we are headed eastbound now. Headed back. Tour. I think Penix will be good in the NFL. I think he throws a good ball. And he's tall. He's like 6'6". And he can move decent. More of a pocket passer. I think he'll be good in the NFL. He throws a great ball. Listen, Michigan put a lot of pressure on him. There you go. There you go. Let's go. Caleb Williams, yeah. He wants to be a part owner.
Yet. I can't guess that yet.
He was doing everything to protect us. January 21st, apparently, this all the other names are now that folks, this is more having so very careful with parties you go to. Set limitations to. Due diligence before you say yes to any party you get going to be going. It's very specific questions.
Are any of the guests satisfied?
Yeah. Is the
Blanky roster.
is the party on and yeah. So
Are there minors massaging?
and FYI, Pink Bennett, social media. If social media was around, like you had smartphones back then, people think about like people would have they lock into
You don't get to take a picture. Sometimes Mason's gonna take your picture. You know, get that picture of somebody just taking this picture. Information, frame up.
Criminal hit on his daughter.
What? You've come further than many, adventurer. Respect the elements around you, and you shall fare far greater than most. The wind approaches you quickly from the horizon. The earth is steady beneath your feet, and your spirit is already warmed by fire. I would say it is time for you to learn about the purity of water. Your path has led you this far, and your spirit will give you the strength to carry on even further. But the first step is yours to take.
How may I aid you? Go in peace.
Crazy statement to be like, just she's a smart little
See this one. One seat. If she got this
bring her on trial.
I mean, she's not beach. It's sealed. Only the identities of the victims should be sealed. So should not be sealed. And they should be bringing charges against those people. And I think, frankly, now that it's public, there's going to be a tremendous amount of pressure to see them do the right thing and go after people. I'm a little disappointed that it takes media. To be honest with you, like, why did we need to see it for you to bring charges? Because as of today, there are no charges. Sleeping with underage individuals. It's not fine. What's happening?
Regardless of his
What?
what happened? Why you why it's all you've gone to the lady to the girl.
Can't be lawyers to the government. The government has this case. The government needs to bring civil suit, sure. A civil suit they were settled. paid for. JP Morgan. JP Morgan, which I believe was in
290 million. It's not their top brass. We're involved in all these emails. Who ended up with it?
why this settlement is you will no longer sue us, you will take this check, you will go away. It's a settlement agreement. Settlement agreements are fair. You're allowed to have settlement agreements. You're allowed to say, I don't want to litigate. As a victim, I can imagine not wanting to go through litigation, not wanting to be this publicly display your rape and your trauma. Again, that's incredibly traumatic. You know, they suffer from PTSD, real things, real victims. Let me be clear. Some of the issue happening out in the country right now with the adult survivors and some of these things that are coming very late. Some of them are fake, some of them are real, but the ones that are fake, it bothers me. That is something that I don't find it
Cast that yet.
safety, rape after rape. I mean,
Oh, they could disappear.
it's chilling. It's like a trophy. I've seen these videos.
Yes?
Where
I have a feeling I know what you're going to ask me. What would possess someone to live out here in the deepest part of the Barrens? The threat of Quillbore all around and no protection. Well, we all have our reasons to justify why we act the way we do. The real question is, what brings a lowly person to the deepest reaches of the Barrens to speak to a woman who obviously has no concern for her own well-being? I'm willing to bet we both know the answer to
through the legal means that this country allows for. We know. It's very immigration. Is for people who have charged can't get into in the right way and get terrorists, and it's just an open entryway.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch it all, click right here. And if you want to watch it, yo, if you want to earn
What?
Water from the pool?
It is a pity the Quillbore do not realize that all living things are tied together, that their greed only perpetuates the pain and suffering of their people. How much could they accomplish if they were to put their differences aside and their clans came together? Again, a pity, but more than likely a boon for the other races of the Barrens.
These are all big-name influencers, coaches, and experts, all in alternative ed.
Colorado. Hey, we got a few more left. Let's go. Let me pick this. The reason why I asked this question, this, I don't know if you guys have followed this story or not. This year is the biggest election year in the history of the world. Election year. 40 elections, but at the same time, the largest Christian nation, the two largest Muslim nations, all at the same time, 40 plus countries, 3.2 billion people will be this year. You're allowed to, it's your 44 billion, $44 trillion of GDP all this year, right? So, election this year, India, election this year, US, election this year, I can Belgium, I can go on, there's 40 countries, election this year, right? Why there's so many, what's going on, the people who have had control behind closed doors that we don't know, what do they fear? They fear losing control, okay? And the number one piece,
Smells bloody yet.
elections going on around the world, 3.2 billion people potentially voting. Number one down. The second one, the number one down, the guy Donald Trump. So if he gets elected, the people control can't control, right? Because a lot of these other guys can't
wish I could give. This is what I would say. Look, I know a lot more things than I can share.
Charging.
The witch hunt.
Many are the paths of the Earth Mother. Wherever you decide to travel, may she watch over you.
It's through people's cases. And that is why. And without getting into political, it's different than any other case. When you know the facts as an attorney, and you know what actually happened behind closed doors, and you know what he did and didn't do, not what the press is saying he did, what the Smiths are saying he did or what he did. The real facts. Your level comes down. It becomes very simple. We have to be able to fight a corrupt organization. That's what it is. It's corrupt. And that's where when we find judges, that we can give them the facts. We are, look at my just. But if you have a judge who wants to take him down, wants to be a part of taking the chess piece down. If you have this mean woman, this woman, wanting to be a part of this liberal radical movement, and we don't have the ultimate or the Supreme Court to these people, that's when we're in trouble. Do so. So I think that right now for Donald Trump for taking that piece off, it all goes frankly up to the Supreme Court because everything we're talking about is election interference. So there is
Oh, what a genius. I don't know what I'm good at. Finish up.
Yeah. I think that we have to remember that everything we're worried about with Trump is legal. There's a reason his lawyer is his spokesman. It's because it's all being used in courts and through laws, constitution, it all goes up to the Supreme Court. And I really believe there is a checks and balances that still exists in this country. The executive branch, is one person.
It's interesting to learn who Jeffrey Epstein hung around with while he was alive. People who flew on his airplane, people who stayed on his private island in the Caribbean, those who had dinner at his home off Fifth Avenue in New York. And to some extent, those names are coming out, not all of them. But we know a lot of the people who are in Jeffrey Epstein's life, and we have for several years now. But on another level, that whole story seems like a bit of a sideshow, because it doesn't answer the main mysteries surrounding Jeffrey Epstein's life or death. And there are three of them, almost none of which is ever discussed in the media. The first is, who did Jeffrey Epstein work for? What did Jeffrey Epstein do for a living, and on whose behalf? We don't know. The second question is, where did all the money come from? Hundreds of millions of dollars that passed through his hands over many years. And where is it now? We don't know that either. And the third question may be the most pressing of all, which is, what happened to Jeffrey Epstein? On August 10, 2019, he was found dead in the Federal Correction Facility in Manhattan, in one of the most secure places in the world. Did he kill himself, as the government has claimed ever since, or was he murdered? Well, the overwhelming evidence suggests that he was in fact murdered, and that the US government, including the Attorney General of the United States, covered up that murder. These are the questions that matter most, and they're exactly the ones not being addressed in the news media. Why is that? We decided to speak to someone who has insight into this question, and that is Jeffrey Epstein's only surviving relative. His name is Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, separated by 18 months. He's a successful real estate developer in New York, and he's very concerned for his own safety. So the interview that follows is one that you will listen to rather than see. Mark Epstein refused to appear on camera, but we think what he has to say is worth hearing. Here it is. Do you think your brother killed himself?
Not now. No. When I first heard he was dead from suicide, I had no reason to doubt it, so I accepted that. But then after the autopsy, and after Bill Bob made that asinine statement, I said, this was not a suicide.
But when you first heard the news, you thought it was a possibility that he killed himself.
Yeah, I accepted it as a fact. I heard it on the news. The government didn't notify me, as they said. I heard it on CNN in the morning of the 10th.
And you're his only survivor. You're the only surviving relative.
Yes, yes. He has no children, and our parents are gone. And there's no other siblings.
When did you start to think that he did not kill himself?
Well, after the autopsy and both pathologists, the city pathologist and Dr. Barden, came out of the autopsy and they said this doesn't look like a suicide. It looks more like a homicide.
So what did you do then?
Well, okay, I figured we'd have to look into this and see what's going on.
Were you shocked that he might have been killed?
It came as a surprise, yeah.
So as his only surviving relative, what did you do to find out what happened to him?
Well, I started to inquire about what took place. You know, the Justice Department was supposedly investigating. The initial death certificate said pending when it said cause of death, which means pending further investigation.
Yes.
So, but then a few days later, it was declared a suicide by the chief pathologist, who was not at the autopsy. And the questions became, what investigation was done in such a short period of time to make her determine it was a suicide, or was she basing it on Bill Barr's statement? And
who was the chief pathologist who made that declaration?
Dr. Roman.
That was the pathologist who was there.
No, that was, Sampson. Barbara Sampson was the chief pathologist. Dr.
Right.
Roman did the actual autopsy with Dr. Barden.
So Barbara Sampson is the person who declared it officially a suicide, and she was not, as you said, at the autopsy. I mean, she was not present for it.
Correct. And you know, when they call it a suicide, they stop investigating. Because if there's a suicide, there's really nothing to investigate.
Right.
If it's a suicide, because somebody killed themselves, case closed. So that's how they can just sort of cover it up. They never did an investigation. They never interviewed the EMTs that were called to the jail. They never interviewed the
It's still recharging. That spell isn't ready yet.
hospital personnel where his body was shipped. I can't get any answers as to what investigation was done. When I met with the Justice Department people a few months after the death, every question I asked was answered by saying, after a thorough investigation, we determined it was a suicide. It was like them pleading the fifth. I got the same answer to every question I asked.
So, did you speak to Barbara Sampson, the official who ruled it?
No, I haven't been able to get to her.
Oh, she never called you?
No.
So in her public explanation, she has been asked about this. We tried to reach out to her. She refused for reasons we don't understand. But in her official explanation, she suggested that she ruled it a suicide, effectively overruling the judgment of the people who actually performed the autopsy, because your brother had attempted suicide previously.
Yeah, but that's been shown to be false. You can listen to David Schoen, his attorney, on the podcast, the Crime Waves podcast. He explains that Jeff was attacked by his cellmate, but he didn't want to report it as such because he was afraid of retaliation.
But every news account of his initial injuries in the weeks before his death, said that he had tried to kill himself in his cell. He was found in fetal position on the floor after a failed suicide attempt, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, once somebody says that, then everyone picks up the same story, and then it becomes, the truth, just because it's been repeated so many times. But the fact is, he did not attempt suicide that first time.
So if he didn't try and kill himself the first time, then the medical examiner had no basis to declare this a suicide.
Exactly. Plus, there's reasons why he wouldn't kill himself then. He had a hearing scheduled to appeal the bail decision coming up in a few days. And the bail was being increased. So there's a chance he could have got bail. Even as unpalatable as that might have been to some people, in the United States, you're entitled to bail under certain conditions. But, so I could see if he went for the hearing for bail and it was denied, then I can see him taking himself out if he didn't want to spend a year in jail waiting for a trial.
Yeah.
But not a few days before. That makes no sense.
In your conversations with him and in your conversations with the people who were in contact with him at the final weeks of his life, was there any indication at all that he was suicidal at any point?
No, I had no conversations with him once he was arrested. I spoke to him the day before he was arrested. He actually called me from Paris, just the usual, how you doing?
Oh, wow. Wait, power barriers in the game? I didn't fucking know that. That's insane.
What is?
Power word barrier. It's a priest ability.
Yeah, barrier. Yeah.
The rune.
Are you playing a priest now?
No, I'm on my shaman. Someone just casted it next to me. So what's up?
Not much. How are you?
I'm good. Just working on the shaman.
I just did Dead Mines.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got nothing but a pair of Black and Defias boots from the whole thing.
That sucks. Did you get the all the quests done?
I didn't even get the quest. It was a very spur of the moment dungeon.
Yeah, I think you're gonna want that chest piece from there, if I remember correctly. I think that's pre-bis.
Yeah, the Defias chest piece.
Mm-hmm. I think. Pretty sure it is, anyways.
I really need a new bow, in the worst way.
Well, if you don't have gold and you can't afford to buy one from the auction house, you need to just spam, basically, Wailing Caverns, yeah. Either that or, there might be a quest bow out there that's worth grabbing, but not sure.
You were able to do Wailing Caverns at 25 by yourself. Is there a reason? Because you're 25?
Because I'm 25 and I have really good gear.
Okay.
Book of Ur. About to do my home as a shaman is apparently it's Shadowfang Keep. I'm gonna have to probably run it at least a few times, unless I get really fucking lucky on drops, which I highly doubt, because I gotta get the ring from there, the shield. There's a weapon. There's like 2 weapons, I think, if I remember correctly. Fucking.
How may I be of service?
This is so stupid. Man, I should have made a horde tune first. I was on the fence about it, but I was like, no, I want to play Paladin. I want to play Paladin. And Paladin is
My next
not...
character I'm making is a Paladin.
Paladin's not bad, but it's definitely not as good as I thought it was going to be. I think Shaman might be better. Well, DPS-wise, Paladin's for sure better, but... I feel like in a 1v1, a Shaman is shit on a Paladin.
Really?
Yeah. They have way too many tools to... The problem is... Okay, so Shaman has mobility. A Paladin does not. Not really. Not the same way a Shaman does. Shaman can move at 40% movement speed with a Ghost Wolf. Shamans also have a range slow. A range interrupt that's on a 6-second fucking cooldown that does a shit ton of damage. They have better heals than a Paladin. Now, Paladin has better defensives, but you do more damage initially, upfront damage, than a Paladin does. You would have to get lucky, basically, and get the Hodge off on them. And they so a Shaman loses if a Paladin outpressures them, but usually that's not the case. Usually a Shaman outpressures a Paladin, right? A Shaman can purge everything off of a Paladin besides its bubble. So I can purge off freedom, and so what I could do is I could frost shock him. Oh, cool, he presses freedom. Oh, cool, I press purge, and then I frost shock him again, and then he's fucked. And he can't move. Then I just fucking kite him around indefinitely, and I mean, I don't know. I just... Shamans tend to do more upfront damage than a Paladin. Paladin's very RNG. Paladin can, like, one-shot you, but you're very gear dependent.
Hey, I just leveled up. 22 bitches. Sorry. Got excited.
So far, I am not impressed with dual wield. But I don't have dual wield specialization yet, because that's gonna cost me 1,000 fucking gold, apparently. It cost me a lot. I really don't like this fucking stupid new iPhone update. Holy shit, there's a shit ton of herbs in Silver Pine.
Just got 22. Let's see what's next. Bam, bam. Yeah, it took me like an hour and a half after I got home from work to farm fucking a Ghost Saber. Or Ghost, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah. Well, that'll be your best pet right now, but when you hit 25, the Serpent is just better. So, the Wind Serpent. Either get that rare red one that's in the Barrens, or just go to Thousand Needles and get a white one. but it has to be specifically level 25.
So I have to be level 25 in order to get the red one or the white one.
Correct. And you want to tame one that's that level because that's the only way to get rank 3 lightning breath, which is what makes that pet OP. I think Hunter, if that rune stays in the game and it doesn't get nerfed, I think Hunter is going to always be OP because at level 60, there's a pet you can tame in Zul'Gurub, that Hakar wind serpent, and it do I want to put this as my hearth?
Rest your weary bones for a spell.
Make this my home. Yes.
Trust no one.
Anyways, that particular wind serpent in that raid is the only wind serpent in the entire game that has rank 6 lightning breath, which is the highest rank you can get.
That spell isn't ready yet.
How do I get dash?
So dash comes in later on. There's only 3 ranks of it, and your pet has to be a certain level. You have to tame a pet that has the ability. If you go to Petopia, it tells you all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I looked it up. I have to be level 24 for it.
Why the fuck does it want me to go to Hillsbrad? Oh, it wants me to go to... That's fine, I need to go to Hillsbrad anyways. Oh, that's right. That's fine, I need to get all these flight paths anyways. Plus, I'm a shaman. I'm the fastest moving character in the game at the moment.
So I'm level 22.
I figured out a really fucking sick-ass tank build that I pretty much have, like, infinite mana as a shaman. So I got the water...
What the fuck is that? Is that a...
I got the water shield rune.
Beast? Why does it have that? Transform into a furblog. Alright, so.
Are you okay?
No, there was this guy right here. Transform into a furblog form. Ever seen that?
I've seen it, but I don't remember, like, what benefits you get from that, or if any. I don't know.
I got a parrot from Dead Mines. Hey.
Like a pet?
Yeah. Arr. I did get a whatchamacallit? A Blackwater Cutlass. But I'm wearing a Searing Blade right now, which is better than that, so.
Yeah, you ideally want to get a two-hander. That's the goal.
Two-handed polearm, I know.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be a polearm. The best in the slot right now is the polearm I have. But you can't do that until you do the raid. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a polearm. It just has to be a two-hander with a good damage profile, like a good damage range. And you want to look for stats. Agility being your number 1, obviously. Attack power can work too. So things like that. Bro, I'm not going to give up on my Alliance characters, but I fucking miss the Horde, man. It's just so smoother as a Horde player.
I literally switched from Horde to Alliance for you.
I'm still going to play Alliance. There's nothing to do with my Hunter right now. I could do the raid. I could
all
do
about Alliance right now.
I feel you.
I hate that you got me stuck on this.
No.
But, like, my Hunter is my game right now.
Yeah, but I'm probably, honestly, I might make a fucking Hunter on Horde, too. I might make a Hunter on both sides. I'm still going to play my Hunter. There's just no point of me playing at the moment. I'm going to wait until you're 25. That way we can start doing things like the raid together and Warsong Gulch and stuff like that. Because you're going to want... Oh, by the way, they just announced today that they released Phase 2 date. Yeah, you're right. So you're right now. Yep.
Yeah, I saw. I'm up to date. I get notifications.
Dude, I
So real
forgot
quick,
how good
does After the Cheetah and the boon of Black Fathom Deep
Does it stack? I
stack?
don't think so. I don't think so. I think I tested it and it does not. Unfucking forge. But certain things do.
That would be 50% movement speed. Like, come on, why not?
The warrior thing does. There's a warrior rune that stacks with it, and it's fucking bullshit. And completely unfair. Oh, I can fucking urban ghost wolf form? Let's go! I'm really hoping... So, I'm not super in love with Shaman yet. But I have a feeling Shaman is going to be fucking insane next phase. It just really depends on what runes they release. Ellie is pretty fucking fun right now. I need to get that rune, actually. Lava Burst.
Alright, there's my boon. Thank you. Alright, so, level 22. Where do I need to go level at 22? Let's see. Zygor says Ashen Barrel.
Let's go, bitch.
So if I go to Ashen Barrel, I'm gonna get fucking ganked every 5 seconds. Although I did take on a level 25 rogue earlier and kept him concussioned, and then he got close and I fucking wing clipped him, and then I fucking disengaged and I kept running fucking to save my life. I won in the end, but it wasn't easy.
Get fucking wrecked, kid! I'm gonna die to his stupid fucker's dots, though. Nope, just kidding. Shaman OP! Let's go! I just won my first fight against the Alliance.
Want to meet up? We'll fight right now.
We're on different servers, Dork. I would harass the fuck out of you. I'd probably farm you into the dirt.
Oh, wow, Eric. That's
LOL.
rude.
Just for fun.
So bad.
Oh, well, I feel like I've gotten better at this.
Oh no, he's in my chat. He got really mad and got my chat. I killed him and he instantly came to my chat and he's talking shit. Aw, it's okay, buddy. Maybe next time. So what exactly makes me bad, by the way? Because I'm pretty sure I beat that ass. Pretty fair duel. Somebody upset.
Yeah, forgot about the warrior LOL.
It's not my fault.
GGS.
I mean, I still would have beat you no matter what. You don't really beat shamans in duels. Not at this level. Oh, fuck! That's a lot of alliance. No. Oh,
You
shit.
had 5 HP?
No, I did not. It's not true at all.
I don't want to go do Willing Caverns.
You mean 5%? I mean, maybe. Ooh, I don't know if I can take on a priest, but we're gonna try. Fucking feeder, man. Oh, I'm retarded. I know how to fight that. Oh, I'm gonna get feared into the... Oh, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Oh, shit. That's a hunter. That's a level 24 hunter. That's gonna fuck me up. You know what? I want to try. Oh, he's got an OP pet. It's gonna kill me. Hunters are so gross. Oh my god, his pet did all the damage. I almost killed him though. He's 24. Hey, actually, you know what? That was worth it. Fucking bet. Let's go. Actually worth. Bro, honestly, I think I can fucking destroy people if I get the dual wielding rune. Oh shit, what am I doing?
Where do you get that from?
You have to be rich, man. It sucks. I have to buy this thing off the auction house or be an engineer, and I don't want to be an engineer yet. I want to be an alchemist because I want to try something, but I might drop alchemy and just do herb skinning here soon, but not right now. Everything's fucking underpriced as fuck because of all the bots. They did just do a huge ban wave. They just banned 250,000 players this past week.
All bots?
Most of them were all bots, yeah.
Good.
Where would you like to fly to?
That's such a big number.
Mm-hmm. Why do people think they can just bot like that?
Sorry, accounts, not just fucking players.
Oh.
Did I never get the fucking... Oh my god, I'm an idiot. I never got the flight path. Fuck. I'm so stupid.
Embrace the shadow.
My headset's dying. I need to go find a charger. Give me a second. I gotta go find a charger.
That spell isn't ready yet.
And I'll take you with me.
My gear is so bad too. My gear is so shit.
I really need a new bow. I'm kind of pissed off about it.
Bro, I can't believe I didn't get the flight path. Alright. We're gonna run all the way back, I guess, and we are going to try. We're gonna PvP. Oh. No, level 25s, go away. You guys are ruining the game. Oh, get him, Shaman. I'm gonna help you.
It's too far.
Oh, he bubbles. He bubbled. Oh, what is this fucking rogue doing, man?
Hey, friend. You wanna come run me through Wailing Caverns real quick?
Me? Again?
Come on, I need Venom Strike. You know that.
Bro, get a group. It's easy to get a group. It'll be faster to get a group, too. Try to get a group without a hunter in it. A lot of people are going for those legs, though. I need to do WC on this guy again. I gotta farm that like crazy.
I don't care about the legs. I just want a bow.
Oh, wait. I
using a green.
forgot. I have res sickness. I'm retarded. Never mind.
How was your close tonight, by the way?
It was good. It was good close, good smooth. You know what's sad? So, yesterday, which I can't be mad at anybody but myself.
Where would you like to fly?
So, my sales yesterday was really good. They were 2,200, right?
Yeah.
Solid. However, guess how much money I made?
$100.
No, I probably would have quit. Holy fuck. Are you kidding me? Jesus Christ. So, I made $220, which is pretty bad for that particular sale number, right? Because 2,200, you're guaranteed over $300 easy. If not, close to even 400, right? So, however, I had one shitty tipper after another. I had 3 tables that literally stiffed me. There was a 4th table that stiffed me, but it was my own fault. So what happened was...
I just got fucking ganked by a fucking rogue.
So anyways, I'm sure, I don't know if you've ever made this mistake. Like, you know, when you're really, really busy and you're taking gift cards and stuff like that, and you run the gift card or whatever, and you go to give it back to them, and it tells you if they either owe you money or they have a balance left over, right? Well, I read the thing wrong because I was just busy and just trying to, you know, get everything done and stuff. And then I read it wrong and said that he had a balance left over of $15 on his card. He owed me $15. So he gives me a 10 and told me to keep the change on that. So I'm thinking, fuck yeah, fat tip. And then I looked at it after they left and I was like, oh, fuck. He owes me $15. So I actually, not only did I lose my tip, I had to pay $5 out of my fucking tip share just to pay for that bill.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah. So I can't get mad at anybody but myself. So I did that, unfortunately.
I will say today, Eric, you impressed me.
Oh, with how many fucking tables I had? Holy shit, man.
You had like 9 tables, and I was like, okay.
I had almost 10 at one
And
point.
Riley comes in and goes, so he has like 9 tables. What do I do? I said, sit. I talked Jessica in. Just.
So look, I know myself very well, and I know my limits. I can do about 9, maybe 10, but that's pushing it at that point. You know what I'm saying? Because you get to a point, you get to a flow where it's like, see, I can handle that much as long as it's like everything's going smooth. There's no problems. There's no recooks. There's no, you know what I mean? There's no like 50 million like checks being split and dying awards and you know, like all the little tedious things, right? So I had none of those issues. Everyone was happy. Everyone tipped me good, and I was definitely for sure. You know, I was like, all right. I was like, okay. The 10th one came in, and I was like, all right. I'm at my limit for sure. I know myself. Like, I'm good, but I'm not that good. You know what I mean? So like, I know my limit. So so I'm glad someone helped me out on that one. But yeah, no, I can do it. It's just
that's why I went out there to grab a charger.
I can do it. It's just like, you know, as long as everything's running smooth, you know, and I'm not doing like little tedious things like having to go get like butter from the walk-in, even though that might not seem much, or there's no ice. You know what I mean? Like, it's like little things that start to add up where you start getting like a little bit behind, you know, little stuff like that. I'll be fine. So, but thanks, man. I appreciate that. What was I doing? Oh, I flew here, so I can go to... but during that first hour, or that first hour and a half before Balco showed up and everyone else showed up, my sales were almost 700, bro. Fucking crazy. Headset dies, hold please. Oh. Oh. I was wondering why you weren't responding. In SoD, we trust. What a fucking silly ass guild. Moto, you still in the chat? You still upset? Lost my world buff, man. Fuck. Why did I do this? I'm so stupid.
Test 1, 2, 3. Hello, 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 hello.
I can hear you.
Okay, fine. Stop
I
yelling at me.
feel silly. I was talking to myself. Did you hear anything I said?
Yes, it was.
Oh, I didn't know if you could hear me or not. I don't know how your headset works. So you could still hear me, but you just can't talk when it dies?
I mean, no, I don't have the sound coming through.
Oh, like the speakers or something?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So listen, I know you don't care, but I'm going to talk to you about something. You ready? So I hung out with this guy last night. I know you don't care, but I'm going to tell you anyway, 'cause I don't have any friends. You're like my only friend that I care to talk to about this kind of shit. So I'm sorry you have to deal with this. But anyway. So I hung out with this guy last night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Literally, I went over there. We literally sat there and talked for like 6 hours. Just talked about random ass shit. He's in law school. He's an influencer. Does TikTok. Has like 8,000 followers.
Ooh.
Blah blah blah.
Red flag. But go ahead.
Why red flag? Continue.
Well, unless because I mean, well,
he's only been
hold
doing
on.
it for like 6 months.
Yeah, but
and has 8,000 followers.
I mean, okay. Well,
I mean,
I'm just
not bad. That's not bad.
Well, the thing here's my thought process on. Well, finish what you're gonna say. I don't want to jump to. Go ahead. Go ahead. My bad.
So I texted him. Okay, so I left his house today at like 10:30. I had to be at work at 12. And I left, sent him a text. I was like, "Hey, thanks for having me over." And then when I got there, we hung out for like 6 hours, talked, and then like I ended up falling asleep. But we both fell asleep. And then like he opened my text, left me on red because he has an iPhone. I could see that he left me on red. And then nothing. And then like 5 minutes ago, 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes ago, he goes, "Hey, how was work today?"
Mm-hmm. So wait, hold on. Let me get this straight. He left you on red and then what was the last thing you said to him?
I said I left his house this morning at like 10:30. And on the way home in the lift, I texted him and said, "Hey, thanks for having me over. Sorry I fell asleep on you. LOL."
Right.
And I got to work, got busy, didn't think anything of it, and then I opened the thread and he opened my text at 11:30 in the morning.
Right.
And then didn't respond.
Okay.
And then just now, he hit me up because I just logged into I just logged into the grinder, and he just hit me up and goes, "Hey, how was work today?"
Wait, hold
I
on.
was like,
Time
"Oh."
out. He has your number, but he hits you back up on Grinder?
Correct.
Well, that makes no sense.
Right, red flag, right?
For sure.
Right. So then he just hit me up just now and goes, "Hey, how was work?" I was like, busy, steady. It was an easy day. Not mad about it. I was like, "Hey, I texted you a few times today." And he goes, "Yeah, my phone was on Do Not Disturb." Yet, clearly see as day that he opened my text and didn't respond.
Well.
Continue.
Okay, so how does that make you feel?
Annoyed. Because, like, we had a great conversation last night, and it was it was a great night. I genuinely had a good conversation with him. And
Was it like meaningful and like did y'all talk about like meaningful shit or
no, it was a very meaningful conversation. Like, and like honestly, we didn't even hook up. It was just we sat there and talked for like 6 hours. That was it.
It's actually pretty good too. Usually it's not always the best. Well,
No,
90% of the time. 90% of the time, if you hook up with whoever you're like, this goes for both sexes, so it doesn't even matter. 90% of the time, not always, but it's very. Anytime you hook up the first date or hang out or whatever, usually it's nothing's gonna come of it meaningful.
Right.
Beyond that,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Agreed.
So
agreed.
Now, if that's what both parties want, then fuck it, whatever. And then it is what it is. You both are seeking that. That's what you're wanting to do. But if you're if
like,
you're
why all day, and then all of a sudden he texts me just now. He didn't even text me.
Well,
he hit me up on Grindr, not even texting me.
So, not that I'm trying to defend him, because I don't know this guy from Adam, but sometimes, not always, I'm with you for the most part, but there has been times where I've like opened a text and I'll either get distracted by something happening around the same time, or I didn't even fully read it yet because, maybe someone interrupted me via conversation, I'm talking to family, or maybe I got a phone call in the midst of it or something like that, and it shows that you read it. Or maybe sometimes I've accidentally clicked on stuff and and it says that I read it, but I didn't actually read it. You know what I mean? Now, those are kind of rare, but they do happen. So he might have not. But the more red flag than that is he didn't even so he has not responded to you via text message. He responded to you on the app.
Right.
That's where it's like, okay, so what I would have done is I would be like, hey, just out of curiosity, you have my phone number. Why even bother responding on here? I'm just curious, you know. Just wondering.
That's asking for. I feel like it's a recipe for disaster.
Well, it's all how you ask the question and how you approach it. Just ask in a very non-stage 5 clingy way, and just be like,
Stage 5 clingy way.
Hey, it's all about how you verbalize it. And if they take offense to it, then that's on them at that point, anyways. And that should be another red flag that you should just, you know. There's like minor little minute red flags, and then there's major ones, obviously. Like, they don't all come in same shapes and sizes, you know. But I would just approach and be like, hey, just out of curiosity, you have my phone number. Was it just easier for you to text me on here versus my phone number? I'm just wondering, just curious. No reason behind it. See what he says.
Like, Eric, you're like my best friend at work. Honestly, not gonna lie to you.
I can't cast that yet.
So I'm gonna send you a picture.
Oh God, what is it? It better not be anything graphic.
No, calm down.
Okay.
That's him.
Okay, Mr. Perfect. What the fuck? What is that? What?
That's him.
God, what is he, a fucking supermodel? Calm down, guy.
For
Jesus
real.
Christ.
I'm
No
just
way
saying.
he looks like that. Obviously, the picture is fucking like...
I thought I was being catfished. I thought I was being set up.
He
and then I
looks
got
like
there.
that in person? In person.
Yes. In person, yes. And he legit is in law school. And he's an influencer. And he has like 8,000 followers.
What does he do influence-wise? Like, what does he do? What do people watch him for?
So from what I gathered last night, when we were sitting there talking for like 6 hours, is that it's all about harassment in the workplace.
What?
So he does TikToks about being harassed in the workplace and being treated unfairly.
What do you... How?
Yeah, right.
How?
Right.
Does he have a job somewhere and he like records people, or he records
No,
people's
this is
experiences?
he does this all on his own.
Wait, what do you mean though? Like, what does he? How does he do that? Like, how? Do people like approach him and give them their story and he exposes it, kind of thing, or like?
Well, he's in law school.
Okay.
And so like what he's trying to practice is, you know, unfair treatment in the workplace, I guess.
Yeah, but okay. So is he just trying to educate the public on?
I watched one of his TikToks last night because he like was showing me. And I was like, oh.
I don't know what these reactions mean, but
I'm genuinely confused by it, not gonna lie.
So okay, what is he showing, like the legal side of things, or is he showing like instances of different cases
legal
of
side of it.
Oh, okay. So he's just okay. I mean, that sounds really fucking boring, but whatever. Okay. To each their own, you know. I mean, people think what I do is boring, so, you know, whatever. So does he... I'm just trying to think. There's only so much you can talk about when it comes to that, unless you're either exposing people or you're talking about different cases. Is that what he does?
Right.
I'm just thinking because I have somewhat of an influencer-esque mindset, considering I stream as well. But I just do mine for fun. I don't try to pursue trying to do it as like a career.
This is all he does.
Mine's
He doesn't do
different
anything
than his. Like, I'm not trying to make a career out of it, or else I would actually try. I just do my shit for fun. I don't do my shit to try to fucking make money or anything like that. If I did, I would have to approach my whole...
Last night, he didn't try to make a move. It was... I was like, yo, I'm tired. And he goes, well, don't go home. Just go lay down. So I lay down and I went to sleep.
Right.
End of story. But like,
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like it's just a little more. I don't know. I'm not sure how to feel about this yet.
Well, the only reason why I initially said red flag when you immediately said influencer, the only reason why is because I feel like that space in general is really toxic this day and age, because the problem is here in America is being an influencer over here versus another country is completely night and day. And here's what I mean by that. We have such a weird mindset in this culture to where people care so much about being an influencer versus what's actually meaningful and helpful in life in general. So what I mean is, like, people care more about their fucking Instagram, how many followers they have on Instagram, and how many people like their posts versus like doing something actually like productive and meaningful in life.
I mean, actually, I told him last night, is like, I don't have Instagram, I don't have Facebook, I don't have Snapchat, I don't have any of that shit.
You definitely have Facebook, unless you deleted it.
Oh, I don't have Facebook, Instagram, or Snapchat. I deactivated all of it.
Oh, well, you're also not an influencer, and you don't care how many fucking followers you have and shit like that. You know what I mean?
I don't give a
right,
fuck.
like, I don't give a... So, I'm not saying this is him, but people care more about their status, their validation online, and what people think about them online. Not saying that this is necessarily him per se, but usually, most cases, when people get big online, it goes to their fucking head, and they think they're better than everyone else, and they have that mindset. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
and then that translates over to relationships too. Like, oh, I can get whoever like, there's a big, so the new trend right now, I don't know if you follow any stuff that's going on like culture wise, but the new fad, the new trend is like, there's these different podcasts that are popping up that are exposing like a bunch of OnlyFans girls, because OnlyFans has fucking skyrocketed in the past couple years, especially since COVID. Like, holy fuck, that industry is insane, absolutely insane. Probably $1 trillion industry at this point, almost. Definitely billions for sure. And the money you can make on there is actually disgusting. If you get fucking popular and found, obviously. But it's insanely oversaturated. However, there's so many weak, desperate fucking men in this world that'll pay for that stuff, that it just boosts these girls' egos that think they're 10s when they're not really 10s at all. They're nowhere near a 10. I know it sounds like mean and harsh, but it's the truth. You know what I mean? So anyways, the point I'm trying to get at is a lot of that stuff is going on right now, and it gets into people's heads, and it turns them into this negative person, and they just literally start using people for their means and gains. Now, I'm not saying that this guy is going to do that whatsoever, and I'm not trying to like judge him or whatever, but I just look at it culturally, the way everything's like going right now, and it's just like all that influencer stuff is just so negative, and most of them are really fucking stupid. Not saying that he is. I'll give you an example. There was a poll done that went out, and they asked not all Gen Z, but a shit ton of Gen Z people. It was like a big number. It was like 100,000 people. Hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they did a poll in America, and they did a poll in like China or something like that. And they asked everyone in America, all the kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be an influencer. That was the number one answer, more than anything else. I mean, obviously there's some other answers, but that was by far the number one answer. You know what all the answers were over in China? I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a doctor. I want to be an engineer. You know, stuff that actually fucking matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The point is like the way the culture, like, I feel like society, like like here on the West, and it's not just us, it's like Canada and stuff like that too, and some of the European countries, like, they are just like making us fucking stupid. Bro, have you seen like all the montages of people interviewing people interviewing random people on the street, and like people our age and younger, and they don't even know the the 50 states in America. They don't know the capital of their own state. They don't know who the current president is. Like, little, like, things that you should just know. They have no idea. Like, none. But, man, they can tell you fucking shit from everything wrong about TikTok and YouTube. You know what I mean?
No, for real.
So, anyways, that gets all deeper, but
You're dedicated to the task at hand.
that's just what I've noticed. And like I said, I don't know. He might not be like that at all. He might be coming in from an he might come in from a educational type esque perspective on it, which is cool. Oh, that wind serpent's out here, by the way, right now. I'm next to that wind serpent.
I'm not 25 yet.
Yeah, I know. But that's on this server. But anyways, I'm just saying, I don't know. Be vigilant, be careful. Look for all, you know what red flags are. You know what you're looking for. Just be careful. Try not to, let your guard down too much. Let someone like actually earn your trust and just make sure earn that, and then just make sure communication's big on any relationship. I don't care if you're gay, straight, fucking sideways, backward. It don't matter. It literally doesn't matter. Trust and communication is absolutely anything for any kind of type of relationship. Family, friends, all of it. So if you don't have those two factors, the relationship, it will not succeed. It just won't. It'll be fucked in somehow, some way or another, or toxic in some way, and that's just not healthy or good for anyone. So
agreed.
One thing I always will say, and I will die by this saying, never ever make your partner's mind wander in a negative way, ever. If your partner, that means something's failing somewhere. That means trust or communication is failing at some point, and it is not a healthy thing for any party to be experiencing that, because it just leads to too many different negative thoughts and potential negative actions that could be taken. And I know you know what I mean by when I say that. And that's for anything. Yeah. So just always have that mindset when you're going to any type of relationship. Always. I never want my mind to wander in a negative way. I need reassurance that that's not going to happen. And all that takes is just communication. If you can communicate, the trust is going to start to build naturally on its own. Once that that's why I'm not dating that girl anymore. The communication started falling apart, and I straight up told her, "Hey, so I've noticed the communication has been lacking. We need to talk, and we need to get to the bottom of this, because I don't want my mind wandering in a negative way, and I'm sure you would feel the same way if the roles were reversed." And she said, "No, I agree. I think I'm starting to, at first it was, I don't want the title, and then it went to, I don't know if the interest is still there or not." And I'm like, okay, well then I'm going to end it right here, because I don't play that game. You are like wanting to have like your cake and eat it too, and then I don't play that at all. So I told you from day one, I am only interested in somebody as long as they are interested in me. And you were showing more than clear signs that you are absolutely not interested anymore. And 99.9% of the time, when that's the case, that means that somebody else is involved and they're interested in them. I don't care if you're fucking gay or not. It literally does not matter. That is 99.9% of the time the case, 100%. I guarantee you, if my ex was not blocked on everything right now, I would see fucking tremendous evidence that she is absolutely fucking talking to somebody else right now. I don't play that game. Been there too many times, done that too many times. I see all the fucking signs that point toward that shit. I'm almost like a fucking empath when it comes to that. And I'm good. So, any hoot. I fucking hate Zygor guides. It's pissing me off. It made me go all the way to Mulgore, to this little spot, and now it's redirecting me to go to fucking Ashenvale. Fucking piece of shit. Oh, now it fixed itself when I click that button. Anyways. I wouldn't get too... Not yet, because you guys are just started talking. But my advice to you is I wouldn't get too worked up necessarily over it being left on red necessarily yet. You guys are at literally stage 1 of just talking. What's weird is he's messaging you via Grindr after you guys have already hung out in person and have exchanged phone numbers. That, to me, is a red flag in and of itself and makes no sense. So, I don't necessarily know how to handle that. Do what?
And the fact that he's still hitting up me on Grindr and not on texting.
So, okay, here's how you could approach it, actually. Because this will put the ball in his court at this point. Instead of asking when I said to ask, do this instead. Be like, hold on, how do I frame this?
Be careful.
Hey, I just want to have a little clarification so there's no confusion on my end. Are you trying to find something meaningful and monogamous with one person? Or are you just looking to have a fun time? See what he says and leave it at that. Because it sounds like where you're coming from, you're trying to find something meaningful and not fuck around kind of thing. You know what I mean? Because what it sounds to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong, but if you're trying to fuck around, I don't think you would care at all about if he left you on red or not, and he's hitting you up on Grindr after you guys have hung out, right? Or am I wrong?
No. Right.
So all you need to do at this point, be like, hey, listen, here's where I'm at, and I'm just curious of where you're at. I'm not mad or upset or anything. I'm just trying to make sure we're on the same page. That way there's no confusion and there's no about anything. See what he says. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is absolutely not fucking stage 5 clingy at all. That's very fucking mature. And you have every right to ask that question. And just say, if he asks, why do you ask? And just be like, well, I'm just confused as to why you would message me on Grindr when we've already hung out and exchanged phone numbers. It's not a big deal per se, but it just,
What can I help you with?
I just don't understand. It doesn't make sense in my head. So I'm trying to get you to make sense in my head. Because honestly, bro, that doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
And you being gay or not has nothing to do with that. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? So like,
yeah.
But anywho, that's what I would do, and that's a very mature thing and to do. And if he freaks out over that, you know that he's fucking around, because there's no reason for him to. You know what I mean? You've given him no reason. That is an extremely mature way to handle that. 100%.
You're not wrong.
And see, you know how I know that that's why Rebecca, my ex, so I know how I responded to her really got underneath her skin, because I did it. I broke up with her. I think she was mad because I think what she was trying to do was she was trying to break up with me, and I didn't let her. I broke up with her. I took the initiative, and I don't think that she liked that. And I think that she got really upset because she basically got exposed, and she didn't like that. So I'll give you an example. So when I confronted her about the communication thing, she tried telling me that she's not sure if she wants to have the title girlfriend, but she still wants to date. I said, I'm not okay with that. I said, why would I go backwards? Why would we work backwards? I'm trying to work forwards. I told you from day one when we first started talking, I am dating to marry. I'm not fucking around. I'm trying to find my forever type person. So when we hit it off and everything was fucking going, you know, rainbows and butterflies, and I finally ask you to be officially my girlfriend, if you felt that way, why the fuck would you say yes? Okay? And she said, I've been thinking about that ever since, and I think I was just in love with the fact of, like, having an actual boyfriend. You're a great guy. This is 100% me. I just don't think, I feel like it's moving too fast. And I'm like, what indications have I given that it makes this feel like it's moving too fast? I said, we have been official for over 2 months and going on 3. And I have not once talked to you about marriage. I have not talked to you once about moving in with you. I have not talked once about kids. I have not talked any of those fucking like super serious conversations that you should only be having after you've been with someone for quite a while. You know what I mean? I've never said I love you yet. I haven't even said I love her yet. Now, I was starting to feel like strong feelings towards her. It was getting there, but I never said it because I'm very careful with my words. Very careful. Because I know there are ramifications for that if you do that. And I know that is off-putting to some people. So, anyways, I say this to her, and she does not have a sound, logical answer or explanation for that whatsoever. Which tells me that she is talking to someone else. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because it makes no sense. None. Zero. You know what I mean?
Yep.
She tried telling me and reassuring me over and over that there is no one else whatsoever. This is completely on her, and she knows this is completely on her. And then this is when she starts acting crazy. One of her fucking friends decides to randomly add me on Facebook, and I did not know it was her friend until after I accepted it and I saw that they were friends. And I thought that was weird right after we had our little pseudo breakup. Now at this point, so far, me and Rebecca are cordial, okay? We're still like, we're not talking as much, but we're like I let her know that I was like done. But it was like a smooth breakup. You know what I mean? So there was no like bad whatever you want to call it, juju. I don't know, whatever.
Juju. Yeah, juju.
So I oh fuck me, I'm gonna die. Oh no. Fuck off. Oh my god, why are these all 27 and 25? I'm so dead. Don't daze me, please. Can you get dazed in Ghost Wolf form? I have no idea. That's what happens when I fucking talk and I'm not even paying attention. Anyways, all right, we live. So anyways, her friend hits me up, right? And so I question her because I'm thinking, okay, Rebecca's up to something. Like, why is her friend adding me after we break up or the day of? Because that's like sketchy. Like, what are the coincidences of that? You know what I'm saying? So I message this girl and I'm like, I see you're friends with my ex, Rebecca. Is there a reason why you added me? Oh, I had no idea that she was your friend or she was your ex or whatever. How long were y'all dating? Or how long ago did y'all break up? And I said, pretty fucking recent. Like, oh, get out of here, bro. This fucking stupid hunter's gonna kill me. Go ahead and kill me. I'm getting ganked. Oh my god. Anyways, so I start, investigating and trying to find some answers. And I don't know if it's worth doing this stupid fucking quest. I'm gonna get killed by Alliance nonstop. She goes on this big fucking story about how she's just trying to find friends. At first she says oh, I'm somewhat new to the area, looking for friends, trying to make friends or whatever, some bullshit. And I'm like, yeah, fucking right. No one does this. No one just randomly adds people on Facebook and says they're looking for friends. Nobody does that. So I'm like, so then that's when I questioned her. I said, huh, that's weird. Well, I see you're friends with my friend or my ex, Rebecca. And that's when she goes, oh, I had no idea, blah, 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 blah. And then it went from, oh, I'm looking for friends to, well, I'm in a weird predicament right now because I'm technically in a relationship and my boyfriend, I know for a fact, is cheating on me and I don't know what to do about it. And this girl's just like spilling all this shit to me and I don't know this bitch at all. Like, I don't know her. You know what I'm saying? And she's just saying all this she starts talking about her whole fucking life story. And I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, what? So so anyways, the conversation, I was just like, okay, well, I was just curious why you added me. I just thought it was a weird coincidence that you added me right after me and my ex break up. Because right now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see if this is like Rebecca trying to like pull some shit. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it was going through my mind. My mind is like, okay, Rebecca's trying to fucking pull some shit. So me, so anyways, I go to bed. I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning getting blown up by her fucking boyfriend. Just fucking annihilating my phone, bro. And at first I thought he was trying to like threaten me or something like that, but his fucking typing was so trash. It was embarrassing. But he was like, basically, no, she's such a fucking lying bitch and stuff like that, and just telling me his whole fucking life story about how she's a manipulator, a liar, and she tried messaging Rebecca and tattletale on me, and then she tried tattletaling on like trying to, I don't fucking know, fucking crazy, right? So I'm like, what? And then he shows me the screenshot of the text message of the conversation me and her had and sends it to Rebecca. And she edited the fuck out of it, bro. Like, deleted half the conversation and showed her like only bits and pieces of it that made no sense whatsoever, right? And I'm like, oh, hell fucking no. So dude, God, bro, fuck this quest, man. Alliance, fuck off, man. I just want to do my totem quest, man. Leave me alone. Please. Can I just do my totem quest? Fucking losers. Anyways, so me, because I'm still trying to be respectful, even though I'm not with Rebecca, I go, hey, just so you're aware, here's the entire transcript of the entire conversation I had with this chick. Unedited, unfiltered. I'm sorry that you had to be woken up like this or blown up like this. But here's the truth. And if you have any questions, just, hit me up. And so she finally replies to me and was just like, yeah, that's pretty fucking weird. I don't know why a friend of mine is adding you to begin with. I definitely don't know her like that. We're not super close friends. I met her a few times. She works at the Dollar General in Titusville, and we have never hung out whatsoever. So yeah, but I do think it's weird that you accepted her friend request. And I was like, well, Rebecca, I had no idea she was your friend. And as soon as I found out, I confronted her about it, and I showed you the entire transcript of me asking her why she did that. So this is me being transparent and showing you that I'm not trying to fuck around behind your back, even though we're not technically together anymore, so it shouldn't even really fucking matter. But because I am still being respectful and I have never talked bad about you in any way, yeah, I just wanted to be upfront with you and be transparent. So, and she was like, well, I appreciate it, thanks. And I'm like, okay, cool, have a good day. And that was the end of that conversation. Bro, it wasn't even 5 fucking minutes later, this bitch starts fucking blasting me on Facebook, dog. Like, I find it incredibly fucking weird when your friends add your ex on Facebook and then he accepts it, and she puts it in like big bold letters, like trying to paint me out like I'm some kind of fucking, I don't know what she was trying to do with that. And don't need the drama, hashtag stay out of my life, blah blah blah, whatever, like all this fucking like. And then her friend fucking comments on that shit and says, please don't gank me, and says, ew, why would anyone add him? And so that pissed me off, and I replied to it, and I said, first of all, not sure why in general it's ew to be my friend to begin with, number one. Number two, I had no idea this chick was friends with Rebecca, and when I found out, I confronted her about it and gave Rebecca the entire transcript. Have a good day. And so Rebecca fucking freaks out on me. Just freaks the fuck out of me. So this is how I know that Rebecca has, one, no respect for me as a man or respect for me as a person or valued our relationship in any way whatsoever. The fact that she would go out of her way to make that post saying she doesn't want drama in her life when literally that is causing drama by posting our information on the internet for everyone to see. And so I confront Rebecca. I go, I really don't appreciate you blasting me on Facebook like that. I understand putting her on blast because that is understandable for what she did, but I've done nothing wrong and definitely don't deserve that, and I really don't appreciate that whatsoever. And she freaks out on me and says, stay the fuck out of my life. My friend Jessica, who commented, doesn't even know about you. Bitch, your best friend don't know about me? Your best friend don't know about me. Really? Really? And yet she's talking about me in the post. You're full of shit. So she just got caught in a lie right there. Like, you're not going to tell me your best friend doesn't know about me. Your best friend doesn't know about your fucking boyfriend or your ex that you dated for several months? What? When you've been posting about me on your social media constantly since you said yes to me? Like, you don't know about me, but yet you're posting pictures of me and stuff like that and commenting about me. Your friend doesn't know about me. You're full of shit. So, so anyway, she blocks me on Facebook, right? So I sent her a nice little text message and saying, actually, I can just tell you exactly what I said. Where's this fucking goofy bitch? I told her, you have issues. Thank God you showed me your true colors. Guess my brother was right about you. Because my brother was saying that she's no good. She's bad. He heard bad things about her or whatever. And so she tried typing to me, and I immediately blocked her. I'm not even going to play that fucking game. And that was the last time. And so she had to get the final word. So she had to fucking Snapchat me and call me a fucking asshole. And before she can finish saying whatever she wanted to say after that, I blocked her on that too. So anyways, moral of the story is she showed her true colors. And if someone truly cares about you, they're not going to do little things like that. You know what I'm saying? If they truly cared or loved you or had any meaningful thoughts and feelings towards you, they would never act that way. Because even though I am not with her, I have never spoke ill about her. This is the worst I've ever spoke about her. Now, there's a lot worse I could say about her, but I'm not going to do that. There's no need to. But I'm just explaining like what happened. You know what I'm saying? Basically, I don't put up with that shit no more. So, I'm tired of losing sleep over people. I'm not going to lose sleep over anyone anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's not healthy or fair to me. I know what I bring to the table. I know what a good person I am. I did absolutely nothing wrong whatsoever for her to feel that way. So that just tells me, look, it's fine. If you lose interest in somebody, just fucking tell them that. And if you're talking to somebody else, that's fine. You don't have to do this like little sneaky games and these little like have your cake and eat it too moments. Like, no, dude, those are little like bullshit, little tiny white lies that just add up to be, you know, cheating. Or like, if you are not interested in me, bro, I'm a grown ass man and a grown ass, don't just fucking tell me. I'll go my way, you go your way. Is it gonna hurt a little bit? Okay, sure. But it's gonna hurt 10 times worse when I find out you're fucking lying to me and I catch you. You know what I mean? But see, that's where that trust and that communication comes into play. And I sensed it, bro. I sensed it. I knew something was fucking up because she was being very fucking distant. And yeah. So. But anywho. How's the hunter going? Oh, and I think my dog's gonna die.
That's what you were telling me earlier.
What?
That's what you were telling me earlier.
I need to go check on him in a minute. Something's wrong. He has some kind of spinal disease, and he's in severe pain every day. And it's starting to become very, very expensive taking him to the hospital every day. My mom had to take him again today, and it costs $1,000 every fucking time, and we don't have the money to keep doing that. So I don't know what to do. I don't want to put him to sleep because I feel like this is something we could potentially beat, but I don't like seeing him in this much pain. It's breaking my heart. And ultimately, the decision's not technically up to me anyways. It's technically to my mom. But it just it fucking sucks, bro. It sucks. Like, my heart went out for you when your cat died, because I can only imagine that shit fucking sucks. So
That is terrible. Why are you bringing that up, Maya?
well, I'm just saying, like, I'm sure you can relate is what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to, like, my bad. I'm just saying you probably see where I'm coming from. It fucking sucks. Fucking A, man. I hit hard, but man, I get fucking hit hard right back. Collect filled blue water skin. Where am I supposed to do that at?
That smells brilliant and still recharging.
Dude, Earthshock hits so hard. Love it. Arcane spell damage? Alright, I need to get the flight path over here. I'm kicking myself in the ass. I literally was at the sepulcher and I forgot to get the flight path. It's stupid. The sepulcher. French. How you like that hunter? The hunter's fucking blasting now, huh? I bet you're just blasting through content. So you're gonna keep that pet? Keep that pet forever. Actually, you're gonna keep that pet until phase 2, until you get Broken Tooth, which is in the Badlands. You'll get that bad boy at 37, and you'll rock him forever. But as a secondary pet, you are going to get that Wind Serpent, and that Wind Serpent is going to be the best pet now going into phase 2. I think Wind Serpents are just going to be straight up the best, period. Please don't kill me, please. I just want to run. Don't gank me. No. I'm 22, man. They're gonna kill me. Slash cry. Slash strong. Slash scared? Is that a thing? Slash friend? Is that a thing? Oh, he ran away! Oh, you just gotta do the slash things to them. Alright, that worked. Bet. That's a new strategy right there. If you're ever gonna get ganked, just type slash scared. Like, you're scared of them. Slash bow, slash hug, slash, you know, whatever. Slash kiss. Oh, that's a level 20 hunter that's going to gank me. Oh, that sucks. And he's a twink. Ooh, where did it spawn me? It spawned me next to their base? What? Where does that make sense? Are you falling asleep on me? Gotcha. You got real quiet. Or did my talk bore you that much? Wait, fuck, it's hot as fuck in here. You working on your BIS list?
You
know what your BIS, you know what your pre-BIS is?
This is what?
Huh?
This is what?
Bro, go to bed. I can't even understand you. You're so tired. Go to go to bed. What? What did you just say? This is what? What?
Night.
Yeah, go to bed, man. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Later.
Night, bet.
Ooh, King's Blood. Hello. Bro, come on, man. God, I hope you fucking get cancer in real life, kid. What a fucking loser, man.
On a phone call, and the next day his attorneys called me and told me he was arrested. And that was the last time I spoke with him. I didn't speak to him or see him while he was in jail.
But having spoken to his lawyers and people whom he communicated with from jail, did anybody say that he seemed suicidal?
No, everybody was shocked that it was a suicide. Nobody thought he was going to kill himself. Nobody thought he would do that.
So what's interesting is that the Attorney General of the United States at the time, Attorney General Barr, said publicly and then wrote in his memoir that he had concluded conclusively that this was a suicide based on two pieces of evidence. One, the medical examiner, the person who performed the autopsy, declared it a suicide, which is a lie. That didn't happen. And two, because he had viewed the videotape at the entrance to the tier, to the cell block where your brother was being held. What do you make of that explanation?
Well, when I heard Barr's statement that he said he personally saw the videotape and he concluded it was a suicide because nobody went in or out, that's when it hit me that he's covering this up, because there's two sort of fallacies in that. One, I thought, why is the Attorney General of the United States, who I imagine to be a busy guy, why is he personally watching the videotape? Couldn't he have two people in his office watch the videotape and say, hey, Bill, nobody went in or out? You know, wouldn't that suffice? And two, to assume that somebody could get to that door, go inside, you know, kill somebody, get out completely undetected is just ridiculous, because I believe there are 6 levels of security before you get to that door. So to assume that somebody could do it that way is crazy. And any third-rate investigator will tell you that, you know, there was anywhere from 7 to 14 people on the other side of that door, on the tier, that could have killed somebody. And I had been told from another source, I've been getting a lot of information from all sources, that cell doors were left unlocked that night. I don't know how many cell doors or whose cell doors, but if cell doors were left unlocked, then somebody could have went into Jeff's cell, killed him, went back into their cell, undetected. Now, in the Justice Department report, it says that from 3 cells, you could see Jeff's cell door. But if you look at the photographs of the tier, there's tiny windows in the cell doors. So in order to see Jeff's cell door from another cell, you'd have to be standing at that window inside the other cell in the middle of the night looking towards Jeff's cell. And if somebody crept low beneath the height of that window, you wouldn't see them. So the fact that, you know, to say that he could be seen from 3 other cells and they didn't see him.
Whatever, man.
Well, chances are the other prisoners were sleeping in those cells.
Fucking
if
Christ,
they had nothing
dude.
to do with it. So again, it's just like a cover-up line.
Right. So in other words, the Attorney General said that nobody moved on to the cell block, according to the videotape, but that is irrelevant because if your brother was murdered, he was almost certainly murdered by someone who was already on the cell block.
Exactly.
Right. So given that, and it's obvious and logical when you think about it for about 10 seconds, the identities of the other inmates on that cell block are critical. Your brother was alone in his cell.
Right.
So any one of those inmates could have killed your brother. Do we know who they were?
No, I can't find out who they were. There were 7 other cells, each with 1 or 2 people in them.
Yes.
Which means it's either anywhere from 7 to 14 people, other than my brother on the tier that night. I don't know who they are, or I know one, that guy Tattaglione, who was Jeff's cellmate for a while. He was there, and he was there for a long time. So if Jeff was killed, it's a possibility that somebody was planted in there. Cell doors were left unlocked. And then from what I understand, a number of prisoners were transferred off of that tier after the death. So if somebody was planted, you kill Jeff, and a day or 2 later he's transferred out, and he disappears into the ether. I don't know who the prisoners were. I'd like to find out who they are, and where are they now?
So there's, of course, a record of this. These are federal inmates in a facility run by the Department of Justice, the Bureau of Prisons overseen by the Department of Justice. So it's not like nobody knows who they were.
Yeah, they have to have a record.
Right.
Sure.
But they will not release that to you.
I haven't been able to get anything. Right.
Let's go down the chain of documents that might
All right. I'm back.
What I guess what an insurrection is, of course, they use the word insurrection in the actual code itself. But what do you think? Do you guys think it was an insurrection?
So I personally believe it was an insurrection, and I base that on the fact that 20 court decisions called it an insurrection, and the fact that there was a bill passed in the Senate that called them a mob of insurrectionists. I think the bill passed, or it was in the House of Representatives, 406 to 21. That was a statute to award the police officers medals, and it referred to these individuals as insurrectionists. So, I mean, I think the term can be subjective. I think, people can say nobody was charged with violating Section 2383 of Title 18, which is insurrection and rebellion statute. And nobody was, right? But I don't think that defines whether the event was an insurrection. When I say insurrection, I don't mean everybody there was partaking in insurrection. There were people who were peaceful. The people who walked into the Capitol and did nothing, I don't think that they were insurrectionists. I think they violated the law, but I don't think they were partaking in insurrection. I do think the Proud Boys were partaking in insurrection. I think you could say Donald Trump incited the insurrection. I do.
Destiny, what do you think, man?
I would say the plot from start to finish is quite obviously an insurrection. The only way to get around that is to either justify an insurrection, which is what most conservatives do, they don't realize it, or to deny that an insurrection could ever happen, or if you're not aware of all the facts of what happened. I think that Donald Trump and his cronies had a very coherent plan that they tried to enact from start to finish, starting with false claims of voter fraud, leading to false slates of electors that filed themselves as state electors under perjury, which is what they did, up to the violence that happened on the day of the certification of the vote, where Donald Trump and his friends continued to try to delay the peaceful transfer of power by contravening the certification of the Electoral College vote.
And what I want to make sure that we don't force this into like what they want to call a debate where you got to be called on or anything. So if any of you guys, Glenn, you as well, man, if any of you guys want to jump in.
Yeah, two of them just went. I want Glenn to go, but I just want to say something here. I was there. And I was investigated and subpoenaed by the Justice Department in at least 5 criminal investigations, and I was forced to testify in front of the Jan 6 committee, which they've now been destroying their records because the records show the opposite of what they said. Trump and all of us had a stage rented by the Supreme Court. He was supposed to have another rally there. We showed up. Before Trump ever finished his speech, people were getting tear gas and hit by bullets. And there were a bunch of provocateurs leading an attack against the police, and they broke through. And then this 1 million+ people then got blamed as insurrectionists, and Biden gave a big speech yesterday saying they're all terrorists. So by that extension, Kamala Harris, as the VP candidate, was bailing people out of jail that burned down police stations and firebombed federal buildings. And the idea of Biden's speech yesterday, making his whole campaign about January 6th, saying political violence is never good. The Democrats are the ones that called for political violence. So I was there with a bullhorn, but I could only reach 100 yards out when the tear gas was hitting me, saying, don't go in, don't fight the police. This is a setup. And then we have hundreds of videos. And so regardless of what the left tries to do, they're all out there of people taking off their Antifa stuff and putting on the Trump garb and the police fake arresting people, attacking them and then high-fiving them. I mean, this has all come out in the new footage, and it's all getting...
Wait, fake arresting them? How were they fake
They would grab them and arrest them and then drag them in and then high-five them, take the handcuffs off and high-five them. Those videos, what people are going to take everything I say, they're going to put it on X and show what I said. That's where we dominate. Yeah, and so what I'm getting at here, let me tell you this. What I'm getting at here is they now admit hundreds of federal officers were there. So when Trump started his speech, this whole thing began with Ray Epps saying, go into the Capitol. He told the Jan 6 committee, yeah, it's true, it's in his text messages. He told family, I orchestrated it. So under pressure, they finally indicted him, but only recommended 6 months. So a few hundred people got manipulated into fighting the police. They were led and driven by provocateurs and other groups. They were others, then they opened the doors and the police wave them in hundreds of videos. They walk between the velvet ropes, and then they indict over 1,000 people that just walked through velvet ropes. And then now we're told in the National Security Directive of President Biden, the #1 threat is the American people. And he had a declaration of war yesterday against all Trump supporters and says to protect democracy, we're not going to let you vote for Trump. So as Stalin said, I care not who casts the votes, I care who counts them. Well, Biden doesn't care who casts the votes, he cares who's allowed on the ballot. So we've already won, no one's buying this. And when this happened 3 years ago, the Wall Street Journal had to print a retraction, but they said I was there as a coward telling people to attack. Well, no, they wouldn't let me put the video on Twitter where I was saying don't go in. But the truth is it's coming out. And so that's the bottom line here. And this attempt by Biden to cast the American people as the enemy in all these movies about martial law and civil war and race war, that's their only hope because the corrupt, evil Democratic Party and its evil twin, the Republicans, they've lost power and populism is rising. Quite frankly, this was not an insurrection. It was an insurrection that would have been guns. And it's in the Declaration of Independence that it's our right and duty to get rid of a government that's destructive of what the people want. But I'm not calling for violence. We're winning this politically, but we're being cast as about to be violent in the next 10 months. Because all these indictments and all these attacks to not let Americans vote for who they want aren't working and are backfiring. And all the big Democrat lawyers now admit it. Axelrod admits it. Carville admits it. They all admit this attempt, like we're in Venezuela or something, to take Trump off the ballot when he's never been convicted of insurrection. This is a military tribunal, U.S. code from the Civil War. If a military tribunal found you were guilty of being involved in insurrection, that meant after the war ended.
Can I ask you a question?
Run for office.
Alex, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So do you think the Confederates during the Civil War were partaking in insurrection?
I mean, in retrospect, because I wasn't alive then, I think the South got manipulated into that. I thought there was real issues between the North and South. The abolitionists, had a good point, and slavery needed to end. But it was really about the North.
So just to be clear, the person that's defending the J6 rioters won't say that the Confederate states were engaged in insurrection.
Well, that's not what I see. Here's what happens.
Easy question.
No, hold on. That's not true.
That's what it sounded like you said. Well, you can correct the record. So do you think they were engaged in insurrection?
I was trying to talk, and the thing I said was, I think the South was wrong, and then you just said that I support what the South did. No.
I didn't say you supported that. I said that you said that they weren't engaged in insurrection. Do you think the Confederate states were engaged in insurrection?
Was that because there were rebellions during Reconstruction at the end of the Civil War, and they were saying if you lead an uprising against the Northern occupation of the South, you're precluded from running from office because they were worried about Southerners getting office again, like Jefferson. No, I do not support the Civil War or slavery, and I'm not a, quote, Confederate.
But was it an insurrection? My question is, was it an insurrection? Yes or no?
Yes, if you were, no. The law, yes, I think that it was a civil war, and you can say an insurrection.
Okay, so is it insurrection? Did anybody get charged with insurrection rebellion.
What I'm saying is...
With violating statute. Did anybody
you're
get
not
charged?
listening.
No, I'm asking you. You just said it was insurrection. Did anybody get charged with violating the insurrection and rebellion statute?
Yes, people did.
No, because there was no statute there. That's my point.
No, if
you
the
don't need to.
tribunal found that you did it.
You don't need to violate that statute in order to be partaking in insurrection, because the Civil War was an insurrection,
Okay, well, you
and
know-
nobody got charged with violating
you're not
that.
listening. This
No,
came-
that's
this
what I'm
came at the
saying.
end of the Civil
That's my
War.
point, Alex.
Reconstruction.
You're changing the
Here,
subject because you know it's correct.
Even the Democratic Party lawyers on CNN say you have to be convicted under the 14th Amendment of this before you can be. You can't just
You don't get convicted under the 14th Amendment. You get convicted under Section 2383 of Title 18.
Well, let's slow down a little. Let's slow down a little.
A congressional resolution to give awards to Capitol Police is not a conviction of Donald Trump to remove him from the ballot. He's been indicted for saying they stole an election. So now they want to take him off the ballot
To
so
be
you
clear, he
can't
hasn't
vote
been
for him,
indicted
which
for
is
that.
pure stealing of an election.
I think
this is not, he's the Yankee. He's not somebody in Georgia. He's not Robert E. Lee. This has nothing to do with it.
Also, as a quick fact check, on the 14th Amendment, it doesn't require a conviction under Section 3. You can literally put it on the text on the screen. There's it does not say needs to be convicted.
I guess we need to define the difference. Alex, one second. We need to define the difference between the casual term insurrection and the legal definition of insurrection.
Yes.
Well, there's another thing we need to talk about. So, yes, there's the casual term. There's the etymology of the term insurrection, which simply suggests a rising up. So by that definition, that could encompass a wide range of things.
Black Lives Matter.
Wait. So there's a rising up. Then there's the legal definition, but we have politically weaponized court systems, so that's not even, I think, a proper standard. I think the proper standard is the sweep of a proper historical perspective. Does the event of January 6th compare to the antecedent that we've been discussing, the Civil War? So if the question is Civil War an insurrection? My question is the scope and scale of the event of January 6th comparable to the Civil War? Because Joe Biden has directly made this comparison, which I think is flatly ridiculous, and that comparison has to be valid in order for these ridiculous Section 3 arguments to have any force or legitimacy. And I think any common sense...
It's a lie. I'm going to shut up. It's a lie on its face. They say it's bigger than Pearl Harbor and 9/11. That is bullshit.
Okay, so here, let me finish what my point.
Yeah, do that, and then I want to go to Glenn for a second.
So my
after you do
point
that.
is that two things: the Civil War was an insurrection. I think it's hard to argue that. Nobody got charged with a crime of violating the Insurrection and Rebellion Statute 2383. What about 1992, the LA riots? George Herbert Walker Bush, he invoked the Insurrection Act. 12,000 people were arrested, 63 people were killed, hundreds were injured. Was that an insurrection? What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, it's a declaration of federal martial law.
But was it an insurrection? Because nobody there was charged with violating. Nobody there was charged with violating Section 2383, the Insurrection and Rebellion Statute. But we still consider that an insurrection, right?
By that yardstick, Kamala Harris bailing out people that firebomb federal buildings.
That is
Glenn, talk to me. You have something to say.
Yeah, I actually think what Destiny and what Ed are saying are very important. First of all, I was going to say that I think one of the problems with how these things are debated is that a lot of people these days have very binary prisms for understanding things. A lot of that comes from YouTube debate where you have to declare yourself on one side or the other. So Destiny said, oh, everybody either hates this insurrection, thinks it's an insurrection, or they deny it happens, or they think it's good. And there's so much middle ground. Namely that, for me, this was a political protest that spilled over into a riot where a small minority of the people engaged in violence. I don't think we want to urge that to happen. We don't want to defend that. I consider that lamentable. But the fact that it's laughable to call this an insurrection is actually demonstrated by the examples that they're using. This was a 3-hour riot that was extremely easily subdued. It doesn't remotely compare to any prior insurrections, let alone to the Civil War. The only people who were killed on January 6th were 4 people, all 4 of whom were Trump supporters, 2 of whom dropped dead of a heart attack and 1 from a speed overdose, because these were not exactly a well-trained militia. And when Jack Smith went to charge Donald Trump with multiple crimes, he had a lot of options to charge him with, and he charged him with a lot of crimes, including very dubious ones. He did not charge him with inciting an insurrection for reasons that I think we ought to ask ourselves why. But the fact that this is such a minor event in history is demonstrated by the fact that the media, who needed this to be a major event, immediately started lying about what happened, saying that Brian Sicknick was murdered when he had his head bashed in through a fight with a fire extinguisher, only to learn that actually he called his mother that night. He was fine. He died the next day of what the coroner said were natural causes, because the media knew that if you can't say that even one person supposedly perpetrating the insurrection killed anybody, pulled out a gun, let alone discharged the weapon, all of which is true, it's a joke to call this an insurrection. At best, it's a riot. And that's the reason why Trump hasn't been charged with an insurrection. The only time he ever commented on January 6th about whether he thought there should be violence or not was when he said the following. He said, "I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard." He urged them to be peaceful in how they went there. To the extent there was violence, I think you can make the argument that the FBI informants that even the New York Times admits were there were the ones that urged it. But even if the people who were there were the ones responsible, at best this is a riot. You could so easily make the case that the 2020 riots were as a far greater insurrectionary threat than anything that happened on January 6th.
That's perfectly said. I would ask I would ask the left over here. I know Ian's asked the questions. I mean, I don't know. Did you guys see Biden's speech? I mean, it was an hour long that no one there was good. They were all there, over a million people. I was there. And then we marched down there to have another rally, and then I see this terrible thing happening. It was medieval, and then Biden saying they're all bad, and we can't let you vote for Trump. I mean, come on, man.
We have a clip from Biden's speech I want to play, and then let's get back to you, Destiny. You had something to say, but if you guys have this, it's clip number 4, Biden's speech. This is from yesterday's. It's only 50 seconds, but let's load this up. Not sure what
Trump's mob wasn't a peaceful protest. It was a violent assault. They were insurrectionists, not patriots. They weren't there to uphold the Constitution. They were there to destroy the Constitution. Trump won't do what an American president must do. He refuses to denounce political violence. So hear me clearly. I'll say what Donald Trump won't. Political violence is never, ever acceptable in the United States political system. Never, never, never.
Unless you're the Democrats.
It has no place in a democracy. None. You can't be pro-insurrectionist and pro-American. You know, Trump and his MAGA supporters not only embrace political violence, but they laugh about it.
The insurrection is the open border.
So the insurrection was not just the 3-hour riot that happened at the White House afterwards. I think that's the least charitable reading of everything that happened. And that's not, if you read any of the charges that either Jack Smith or the Georgia RICO case has alleged against Trump, are saying that, in fact, not much of the focus is on the 3-hour riot at all. Not much of that.
Hold on, Alex. Let Stephen finish his thought first.
So not much of those indictments are actually focusing on the 3-hour riot itself. The unprecedented act that there is no answer for, that Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton have not engaged in, is using knowingly false election claims for months to try to pressure state electors to change their vote. And then when they wouldn't do that, beg them to elect different electors. And then when they wouldn't do that, create a plot to create fake electors. And then when Pence wouldn't accept that, try to capitalize on that final 3-hour riot at the Capitol building to also make phone calls and tell people to decertify their vote or to switch their electors.
JFK and Obama had alternate electors.
JFK.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
I can explain that if you want.
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. So in 1960. So in 1960, JFK and Nixon, there was a dispute because there was a recount. I think JFK ended up winning by like 150 votes. At the time, each state decided to certify two sets of electors. Decided to choose two different slates of electors.
Depending on how it went.
But they were certified by the states.
They were in the middle of a recount. They were in the middle of a recount.
Well, Trump tried to get it certified.
None was certified yet. Neither state was.
What happened with Trump was that Trump tried to get the states to certify a second slate of electors based off of conspiracy theory crap that
None of the
the election was
courts would hear
stolen.
his
Hold on.
They did.
He took it to
they
court.
didn't. They
62
refused to go to
cases.
courts.
That's not
30
true.
cases were looked at on merit.
So are they
They were
taking
all
him
shot
off the
down.
ballot now?
This is separate.
That's a separate.
Take him off the ballot.
They're not
Right.
taking him off.
Okay, so
Is the not purest form of election theft is taking someone off the ballot?
Alex, let's get back to the 1960 really fast. So what happened was that they did a recount, and Kennedy ended up winning by, I think, 150 votes, and they chose the Kennedy electors. They certified the Kennedy electors, and Kennedy ended up winning that state.
And that's what Trump said.
What Trump did was Trump tried to get the states to certify an alternate slate of electors. They refused because the court said there's no there there. And then when that didn't go through, Trump decided to get his own slate of electors above the states that were not certified and tried to use that to force Mike Pence to say that Joe Biden didn't win these electoral votes.
Quickly, so if we want to be precise in terms of the scope of the debate, I think it's about January 6th, and so the lead up to it might be relevant to some of the criminal indictments, but it's technically speaking outside the scope of the January 6th discussion. But if we're gonna bring it into the discussion, I think there's an operative word there, knowingly, and that's operative within the context of the charging documents. But the idea that Trump thought that he lost the election and he was knowingly lying and knowingly engaging. No, he believes, I guarantee it, whether you believe it or not, Trump believes that the election was stolen, and he was using the legal recourses available to him at the advice of his legal advisors.
That is not true. Most of his legal advisors said that this idea was crazy.
Well, no, but he had legal advisors who were telling him.
If you search hard enough, you can find anybody to validate an opinion. But what you've just done is what I opened with, which is saying he thought the election was stolen, therefore he was justified to engage in insurrection.
But is it right to take him off the ballot? Since you don't want to debate January 6th,
that's for the Supreme Court to decide. That's for the Supreme Court to decide.
I'm asking a question.
I'm telling you, that's for the Supreme Court to decide. According to Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, it's
why does the United States sanction countries that take people off the ballot?
What? That's not even remotely relevant here.
Oh, okay, all right. So
you know what the United States we usually
we have
independence. If we do want an insurrection, you'd know it.
It would probably be for things like circumventing the vote, like asking the vice president, for instance, to unilaterally win the election.
So
that would be something that we might sanction another country for.
You can't vote for somebody because they make up a bunch of stuff and he's not found guilty anywhere, but you guys just parrot it over again like two men.
If you don't like the Constitution, that's your fault, Alex. If you don't like the Constitution, that's on you. Really? Then why are you saying that Section 3 of Amendment 14 requires a conviction? Alex, why did you say that Section 3 of Amendment 14 requires a conviction? Can we put the text on stream?
I would love to do that, actually.
Put the text on.
And Glenn,
because you keep saying
all right, guys.
It doesn't say that.
Tribunals.
I don't care what it's
they would have
based on.
to find you guilty.
Let's.
That's why no one was.
Put up Amendment 14.
Let's hear from Glenn. Let's hear from Glenn.
We'll slow down. This is a great conversation. Glenn's about to drop some knowledge.
I'm dominating.
Yeah.
You're just talking a lot.
Glenn's in remote from Brazil. So Glenn, anytime you have something to say, it's helpful for me if I see a visual cue. Maybe your hand goes up. I can tell you have something you're going to say now. But let us know.
Let me just say, what happens is when you gather together to debate a particular question, you're supposed to debate that particular question. The particular question that we were presented with is we're going to debate January 6th and whether it was an insurrection. Now, I don't blame Destiny and Ed for not wanting to debate that, for wanting to debate a whole set of other issues about whether Trump acted improperly, whether he was naughty in the things he did after the election, because there is no argument to make that what happened on January 6th rises to the level of insurrection. And that's why an extremely aggressive prosecutor named Jack Smith decided not to charge Donald Trump with that crime because he knew there was no way that he could possibly bring a conviction against anybody, let alone Donald Trump, who told everybody to be peaceful when going to the Capitol, about whether or not that was actually an insurrection, whether that rose to that level. And even in a colloquial sense, what we've called an insurrection in the past is in a completely different universe. But on the issue of whether there was a real belief on the part of Donald Trump that elections were stolen, I don't understand how anybody could doubt that, aside from the fact that you have to get into Trump's head. In the last 3 elections that Democrats lost, in 2000, 2004, and 2016, a very large number of Democrats believed and asserted that the election was stolen, and was the byproduct of fraud, and the president was, as a result, illegitimate. When I started writing about politics in 2005, the idea that George Bush was the real loser of the election, Al Gore won, was the view of every single liberal and Democrat that I knew. In 2004, there were objections claiming that Karl Rove had interfered in the Ohio vote with the Diebold machines and cheated to make John Kerry lose and George Bush win. And then in 2016, Hillary Clinton and the Democrats said that Donald Trump was the illegitimate winner, that Russia had helped him, and they tried to convince the Electoral College to abandon the certified results of the state. Obviously, you go back to 1960, and there's a lot of historians believe that election was stolen. So it's not like Donald Trump was the first person to ever wonder or believe that an election was stolen from him. It's a very significant tradition in American political history, if you know anything about politics before 2016. And if Trump believed that the election was stolen, and while it's true, a lot of people in the Justice Department and a lot of people in the White House told them they didn't think it was, he did have advisors and lawyers telling him that they think there was evidence of it. Then the question is over, even on these other issues about whether or not Trump engaged in some conspiracy against the United States. But the issue is January 6th an insurrection?
Well, that's right. But I mean, Glenn, since
well, hold on, let's
one thing, Destiny, and these guys haven't talked to neither is Professor Beatty. Hillary was in videos 2 days ago saying Trump's going to steal this election. So why are they allowed to say it? It's free speech. You don't get indicted for it.
Trump didn't get indicted for that.
Oh my God. They indicted him and they put it in the charging thing in Georgia saying he has the election. You're hoping people don't read the documents.
You can go read it. It's a RICO case. There's a bunch of behavior that is within a RICO case.
Oh
it's
my God.
It's self-illegal. That's the point of a RICO case.
Yeah, right.
Can I talk about the differences? So Bush versus Gore, what happens? The Supreme Court ruled and Gore conceded. He stopped saying this election was stolen. He stopped saying I won.
That was Supreme Court.
Yes.
Did Gore refuse to certify the vote? I don't remember.
Yeah,
did he do that?
The vote was certified.
He didn't. Oh, he didn't have an alternate slate of electors?
Exactly.
Okay.
So
after Trump wanted a Supreme Court hearing. Trump wanted the same thing.
62 cases were brought before judges. And you said earlier none of them were based on evidence. 6 of them were based on standing. 6 out of the 62.
They wouldn't even hear it. I saw
Do you know how many of them were Trump-appointed judges that made those rulings? 17.
So six of them. Let me finish here. 6 of them were based on standing. 4 of those that were based on standing, the judge also analyzed the merits and said there was no evidence or insufficient evidence. So only 2 of them, and that was Texas versus Pennsylvania and Gomert versus Pence. Do you know what those 2 cases were?
No,
Texas
I know what the cases are.
Texas tried suing.
No, I agree with you. Biden says inflation's fine right now. I agree with him.
Let me finish. Texas tried suing Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, several other states, saying that the election was stolen. And the judge said, no, Texas can't sue these other states. Somebody in that state who was affected had to sue them. Now, the other case was Gomert versus Pence. He challenged the Electoral Counts Act of 1807, saying that Pence could overturn the election. He said that Pence
I think that's wrong. I agree with you. I think that was a wrong legal theory.
Those are only 2 that were based
I agree with you on that. So, but what I'm saying is, then if Biden's going to win so big, why can't Trump be on the ballot?
That's not up for Biden to decide. That's up for the Supreme Court to decide.
Biden said he wants him off the ballot.
It doesn't matter what Biden says.
Oh,
Biden's not the one that decides that.
Trump lost. That's why he can't have his race car on the track. Yeah, this horse is going to lose, so it can't be in the race. Bull crap.
Who do you think has the authority then to determine the interpretation of Amendment 14?
Man, I know the State Department.
Why can't you answer a single question? Why not just answer one question?
I'm just
asking a simple question. Who has the authority ultimately to decide it?
The president has not.
The president has the authority to decide
CNN,
matters of constitution.
You don't let me talk.
Because you won't answer the question.
Yeah,
the president has not been
He's going to ramble. He's not going to
Even on CNN, the legal analysts say that you have to be convicted. So, Destiny, you can sit there and have blue hair and be trending.
Blue hair right now.
And make all these, like, the moon is made of cheese. I'm Destiny.
Does the word convicted...
every American knows you don't lose your rights when you're not convicted. He's not been convicted. And here's the good news. It's backfiring. We have the Declaration of Independence, and we can vote for who we want want to.
No, you can't.
Well,
you can't vote for people under 35. You can't vote for non-citizens. Can you?
Nobody stole an election.
Can you vote
but you
for
can't vote for who you want.
Can you vote for
Nobody stole an election, but you can't vote for who you want.
I think we just
Nobody stole an election, but you can't vote for who you want.
We just beat this into the ground. Alex, I need you. We just crushed this one into the ground, but I want to ask the question in a slightly different way. Was this an attempted coup? Do you guys think this was an attempted coup?
Of course it was. Obviously it was.
The Hunter Biden laptop.
Oh my God.
The weaponization
Hillary
hearings.
Clinton's emails,
the censorship.
Russia
that. There's no Russian connection. That's all.
mRNA vaccines.
Take your extra. I want you to take all the shots.
Global warming.
How many shots have you had?
None yet. You want to take some?
No, I hope you take them all.
I just want you to answer one question about any of this.
I want to see you take them all.
I think we've talked about the Democrats more than the Republicans on the January 6th debate. Isn't that wild?
Wait.
Isn't that crazy?
They now admit that the shot erases your immune system and doesn't protect you. So you do that little one-liner there.
Shot to protect me. The Democrats trying to take away my Democrat.
Yeah. Let's stay back. All right, guys. Back to topic.
Darren. Brian has an answer.
So is it a coup? That's the question.
Yeah, that's
so. I think it can be debated.
Or an
that
attempted
it was
coup.
A coup.
An attempted coup.
Definitely, I would say it's an attempted coup. And a federal
The coup is flooding the border with aliens.
Alex, hold.
District Judge, U.S. District Judge David Carter actually evaluated the Trump Eastman scheme. And he said,
all right, we got some big news. I'm not interrupting you.
No.
Hours after.
Not that yet. But we had Glenn. Glenn's going to speak after you were.
I'm sorry. I'll shut up now.
So the federal judge, U.S. District Judge David Carter, evaluated the Trump Eastman scheme.
Another lawyer.
Which we can go into later. But basically, he said that it was quote a coup in search of a legal theory. This is a federal judge. So a judge.
We have a CIA coup over America. Hey, the CIA killed Kennedy.
Judges aren't part of the CIA.
Oh my God!
I don't think so.
Is that a new theory of yours?
No, it's not a new theory of mine. No, the whole thing is a big rotten. So they can find partisan. They found the Secretary of State of Maine took Trump off the ballot because she had one hearing in a YouTube video. Are we ruled by this lady? Can we not vote for who we want?
So one of the I guess defenses against it being a coup.
Oh wait, here we got Glenn. Glenn speaking. Go for it, man.
It's just about I actually want to ask a question that I would love to hear everybody's answer to. But before I do that, just want to say about federal judges. This year, in the last 6 months, 4 different federal judges, a district court judge, and then an appellate court unanimously found that the Biden administration gravely violated the First Amendment. In fact, the greatest assault on free speech, the court said, in decades, maybe the history of the judiciary, by systemically pressuring big tech to censor the internet and purge it of all dissent by threatening big tech companies using the CIA, the FBI, and the CDC with punishment if they didn't censor the internet. Now, you may not agree, but according to your standard, 4 different federal judges concluded that, which is infinitely worse in terms of an abridgment of freedom or an attack on the Constitution than anything that Trump is accused of doing.
That's
but in
not
terms
true.
Of whether
That's
a digital insurrection by the deep state. Digital insurrection.
Can I put a pin on one thing real quick? I just want it to be noted.
Hold up, everybody, hold up. Glenn, please finish your point, and then we're going to move on to the response.
The question I want to ask is the question that you asked, Ian, is this a coup? If you look at how other coups are perpetrated, and I think a lot of this is that if you're an American and you have this very soft history, you don't know what a coup is, you think that like what CNN tells you a coup is a coup. Usually the way coups work is the leader of the country or whoever is in charge of the military orders the military to seize control of the levers of power. Trump was the commander-in-chief on January 6th. The military was duty-bound to obey his orders. They had a right to disobey if they were illegal, but if this were a coup, why didn't Trump order the military to seize control of the power and turn over the election process to him? Why didn't he order the armed factions that form the law enforcement part of the military and the executive branch that serve under his command to do that as well? That's what happens in a coup. That didn't happen here because Trump wasn't trying to perpetrate a coup.
He wanted the Department of Defense to seize voting machines, and the DOJ turned him down and told him.
The worst thing he did was try to take Biden off the ballot. Remember when Trump said Biden cannot run and have the Justice Department take Biden off the ballot? Oh, God, that was Biden. Sorry. I'm sorry. I was having a moment
So
there.
to reiterate, also, Biden doesn't have the authority to do that. He still doesn't have
Only
the
his Lord
authority
and
to do
Savior
that.
Jack Smith. I got
The Supreme Court that Trump has his picks on, that's currently 6-3 conservative, they're the ones who are going to make the final decision on that. I wanted to be known that every single time you try to talk about any of this stuff related to Trump, it's so many Democrat names that comes out of people's mouths. I don't know why people can't just engage on the facts of what happened on and in the events leading up to J6 an insurrection without having to invoke every other Democratic leader's name.
No name calling.
No, his name's Ding Dong. Ding Dong, Destiny, whatever it is. The point is, I was there. There was over a million people, and they said police were attacking, and we got there like shooting tear gas, and then a bunch of feds helped break through with some idiots that got mad, had a brawl, and then the cops go, "Come on in, everybody, come on in."
So Alex,
so there's everybody sees those videos now.
Okay, so
you call this the new Pearl Harbor, worse than 9/11. 3,000 people. Do you disagree? Let me ask you this: do you disagree with them claiming this was worse than Pearl Harbor or 9/11?
I think it depends how you ask that question. I would say no. It's not worse than Pearl Harbor or 9/11.
What are you basing on it? Are you basing?
No. I get it.
No.
Trying to take people's votes away is sacrosanct. But you're trying to take people votes from Trump.
There's an unprecedented that a president of the United States would do everything within his power to prevent the peaceful transfer of power to the next president.
He said, "I want you to peacefully march down to the Capitol."
That is a uniquely horrible event.
So
the
horrible.
march to the Capitol. What was bad was him watching the riot happen for 3 hours and doing nothing.
No, it took him. It was the riot was happening. He spoke for an hour and a half. It started then. Then he got back to the White House, watched it like 30, 40 minutes, and then shot a video.
No, you're lying. He got back to the White House. He got Mark Meadows delivered a note on his desk that Ashley Babbitt had been shot, and he sat there sipping Diet Coke for an hour and a half. The guy that you called your leader.
The way they run these headlines, I was there.
How many pardons did Trump do for the patriots that got unfairly charged with crimes or convicted in the Capitol
I was there.
Why didn't Donald Trump pardon any of those people? Why didn't Donald Trump pardon any of those people?
I've seen the timelines.
There's not going to be an answer to this. Because there's not. You're scared to answer any questions.
They claimed on their timelines.
Every single
for almost an hour and a half.
Just keep it one at a time. It's easier.
Capitol when he first started speaking. So you add an hour and a half on, didn't exist. I was there.
So you were there, Alex. So tell me, were there weapons there?
No, nobody used weapons.
So are you telling?
Yes, there were weapons. You're right. You got me.
He's going to say the cops.
Yeah, they shot Ashley Babbitt and they threw people off the balcony and they beat a woman's brains out. You're right.
There were 75.
Oh no, nobody shot a woman. Nobody beat a woman to death.
Nobody beat a woman on the ground. That's a fake video that got put out. That was not real.
Ashley Babbitt's fake, folks.
He was shot.
I like how you would think that years after the event, we're now getting unreleased footage. Like there were 1,000 people sitting right around it. There's video of that event from 5 different angles without her getting beat by a baton. How would that take years to report?
Oh my God! Everybody on X, get him saying they didn't beat a woman to death.
Everybody watching, go to Google.
Yeah. Let's.
You just screwed yourself.
All right.
I asked you about weapons.
Got your ass. Woo!
All right. Alex,
got his ass now.
Once you're done celebrating,
Ashley Babbitt, nobody died. Old woman didn't get drugged in by the cops and beat by batons.
This is an Eagles-Cowboys game. What is that?
No, he wants to do little one-ups and just.
So what Trump fans are, it's a sports game to them.
Only goes off how much emotion there is. I can top you.
Alex,
I can top you.
Buddy. Calm down. Okay. So you said the weapons were the Fed shooting Ashley Babbitt. What about how about the 3 men on the corner of 14th and Independence who had AR-15s? How about?
Oh, they used those?
They didn't use them, but
what about the pipe bomb?
I asked you a question.
Who's that?
Alex, I asked you a question if people had weapons. How about how many weepons were seized? Like,
hey, I got a dick.
75
I got a dick.
people
That means
arrested.
I'm raping people.
But
75 of the people arrested within the Capitol building had weapons.
Let's. We have a couple of clips.
Knives and stuff. The knaves have weapons to disarm them immediately.
How about Guy Reffitt? What is he? 3%er or 3%?
Does he have nuclear weapons like Biden? So we're going to use them on Russia?
He had a handgun on the stairs of the Capitol building.
He had a handgun.
As he was encouraging people to.
That's worse than Pearl Harbor.
As he was saying, telling people to go into the Capitol, as he was saying he wants to drag Nancy Pelosi out of the Capitol and hopes her head hits every stair on the way out.
Did he say go into the Capitol like Rams?
Let me just finish my point before you cut me off. He wanted to drag Nancy Pelosi out and let her head hit every stair on the way out. He said,
and a guy pooped on Pelosi.
Finish, Alex.
So
Alex,
we don't blame him.
Yeah, let Ed finish this point because we're going to go to Darren really
he
quick.
said on his way to the Capitol building that they're going to take the Capitol and insert their own government.
Yeah, so
and he had a
out of a
handgun
billion
on the
people,
steps
a
of
few
the Capitol
lunatics were
building.
there, and you call it like Martians invading and blowing the earth up. Like Glenn Ringwald said.
His intention wasn't an insurrection.
Yeah,
Are you saying his intention wasn't an insurrection? He's saying he's going to drag Nancy Pelosi out. He's saying
And he wasn't under Trump's command.
All right.
Trump didn't tell him. Trump said go peacefully.
Alex, can I
Trump
just
said
finish
go
and you can
peacefully.
respond?
Yes, you can finish your point, and then we're going to go to Darren.
Can we use a mute button or something on Alex?
No, I'm not going to be run over.
So he was on his way to the Capitol building saying, we're going to take the Capitol and install our own government. He had a handgun in his holster.
Trump, and I'm guilty.
Handgun on his, in his
No, Alex, let him finish.
on the stairs of the Capitol saying he's going to drag Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell out. But you don't have a problem with that. That's
He
not.
didn't use a gun.
What do you think, Darren?
Because he didn't use a gun because he didn't have the opportunity to shoot Nancy Pelosi or Mike Pence.
Did he
That's
kill him?
okay. He didn't have access to
I
them.
didn't say it was okay.
Thankfully, the Capitol Police.
What about the Q shaman? What about the Q shaman they let in?
The Capitol Police.
All right, okay.
Oh my God, a guy had a gun. We martial law. All the Americans are guilty. You can't vote for Trump now. A guy had a gun.
I've been asked by Zero Hedge to moderate this debate, so that's what I'm going to do. Everyone, quiet down. We're going to Darren Beatty. Darren, what's happening?
What's the question here?
No, you've been hearing all
Is this a freaking coup? What do you think about what they've been saying as well?
I don't think it's a coup. I think question of an insurrection, you can go to the etymology of rising up. That could be anything. If we keep the proper perspective in mind, it doesn't elevate to anything resembling the Civil War, 9/11, or any of the crazy comparisons.
One guy with a gun isn't as big as the Civil War?
No.
They didn't use the gun?
Darren, keep going.
So there's that. The scope, I think, matters, and that's what we're really getting at when we talk about insurrection. The courts are politically weaponized, so I wouldn't even rest, the legitimacy on that question on the determinations of the courts, which we can see are running away with pretty wild and ridiculous theories. Weaponized court system. So there's that. And then, sure, there are random nut jobs who are around D.C. on that day and any other day. And so I don't think that's relevant to the ultimate question of whether it was a coup, whether it was an insurrection. And as I said before, the stuff about Trump and the legal theory behind his, multiple part plan, that could be an interesting discussion. It's technically outside the scope of the debate. But again, I would reiterate, anyone who knows Trump, anyone who knows people who knows Trump, 100% certainty Trump genuinely believes that the election was stolen. He had multiple legal advisors. Many of his advisors were trying to sabotage him from day one. Just because he was advised by one of these snakes doesn't mean that he therefore agrees with what they say. He agreed with the people who told him it was stolen and that he had legal recourse to address that, which he implemented. There's nothing that rises to an insurrection or coup about that either, even though that's outside of the scope of our discussion for today.
So Cassidy Hutchinson said that Trump said to Mark Meadows, "I don't want people to know we lost. It's embarrassing."
I'm glad that you mentioned her because this gets to the televised sham that was
well,
these.
she was under oath. Who under oath for Trump said?
Well, she changed her story a bunch.
Yeah,
she was
clearly,
under oath.
Yeah,
she was under oath. So the thing here is that listen. So the thing here is
why is the January 6th committee destroying the transcripts?
The January 6th committee called near 98% of their witnesses were Republicans.
It was kangaroo.
These people were under oath, Republicans, and they testified. The people who didn't testify within the Trump circle, there were dozens who Fifth Amendment. They refused to say a word. So you're going to tell me that the people that testified under oath are the liars, but the people that said things in the public but failed to say anything under oath are the ones that are telling the truth.
Let me say I wasn't just there on January 6th. I was in that congressional hearing and took the fifth 98 times. And not because I had anything to hide. The Fifth Amendment isn't just to incriminate yourself. It's because they wanted me in a perjury trap, and they were to have witnesses claim something wasn't true. You think I think attacking the Capitol makes us win an election?
Yeah, but witnesses against their testimony versus you can't get you in perjury. They can't.
Oh, yeah, just ask Roger Stone that question.
No, it doesn't happen that way. How did perjury get Roger Stone that way?
Roger Stone wasn't involved with WikiLeaks. He worked here then. He couldn't get a hold of him. I knew he told the truth. He didn't tell anybody I'm behind the WikiLeaks. They said Roger Stone ran WikiLeaks. He never even talked to Julian Assange.
They say he ran WikiLeaks.
No, they freaking tried to put him
in communication. I think this is getting off topic.
Oh my God,
this is off topic.
That's
okay.
Roger didn't lie to Congress when he said, I don't know I have not interviewed Assange.
Let's pull back to Darren. Darren's going to finish off what you were saying about this, and I think, Glenn, you were going to mention something after that, and then I have a couple of clips that we're going to play, but Darren.
Yeah, I mean, the January 6th hearings were a show trial of the sort that would make Kim Jong-il blush.
Explain it to them. They wouldn't let Republicans that they wanted under the law on the committee.
They wanted Jim Jordan, who was actually part
You're not allowed
of the
to have
investigation.
you on your side. We pick who the people are on our jury.
Jim Jordan was being investigated by the committee.
Trump either.
They wanted a person on the committee who was being investigated by the committee. How does that make sense?
Oh my God, when you're being investigated by the Democrats, you don't have a look.
I think a lot of people watching don't understand. Hey, guys.
Jim Jordan was elected.
Does that matter?
The people that are listening don't have the context, so if we start rapid fire argumentation, a lot of people are going to lose interest. We need to stay focused and listen to each other. It's really important.
Staying focused makes it really hard for them to win their case.
It is really hard.
Win their case when they have to stay focused.
It's all very hard, but
with any of their views of reality.
It is possible.
Well, I'm going to go take a piss, and I'll let you tell people fairy tales.
But what's happening is Darren is going to continue what you were saying about finishing up your thought, and then we're going to Glenn Greenwald.
Yeah, well, the thought was just about this Hutchinson, and she said a lot of things. I believe she was the one who said that Trump reached over to the steering wheel and, told the Secret Service this or that, which was a bizarre thing because the Secret Service agents in question weren't the ones that were called upon to testify under oath.
Some of them testified the same thing that Cassidy Hutchinson said.
No, the Secret Service actually said we would love to testify, and they weren't allowed to. The two Secret Service agents in question in that specific anecdote were not allowed to testify. So why would they take the secondhand report from Hutchinson when they could have interrogated directly the people who would have been direct witnesses to that?
And
they're in
not those two specific agents. But why not?
Other agents in the car with Trump testified for the J6 committee. I don't know why they would or wouldn't testify or have particular people testify, but other people in that car did.
No.
Yes,
the two people.
Yeah, Glenn.
The January 6th committee, and it's what Alex was alluding to just a second ago, is one of the biggest shams in the history of Congress, because what happened with the January 6th committee was we had a long history of 225 years of tradition in the United States Congress where whenever investigative commissions would be created within the Congress, the minority leader and the majority leader would each select the members of that committee to ensure there was fair representation by both parties. Nancy Pelosi, for the first time in the history of the United States, as Speaker of the House, refused to allow the Republicans who were chosen for that committee by Kevin McCarthy, at the time the Republican minority leader, to be seated on the panel. And as a result, the Republicans said, we're going to have nothing to do with this. And the only quote-unquote Republicans that were chosen was Liz Cheney, who ended up losing her seat by 36 points, and Adam Kinzinger, who didn't bother running again because they were so unrepresentative of the Republican Party. It was a completely partisan commission. And on top of that, none of the videotapes that were available was made available to the public except for very deceitfully chosen snippets by Adam Schiff and by Liz Cheney. And it was only within the last several months that we saw all of the video footage. And what it showed makes a joke of the idea that this was a coup. You had people peacefully walking into the Capitol, led by many of the police officers who encouraged them to enter peacefully, which they did. The vast majority of people who were there at January 6th aren't even charged with using violence, and that's what makes this whole debate such a preposterous joke. If you look at how coups are carried out in other countries, you could make a much better case that the Black Lives Matter protest of 2020 was an insurrectionary movement. And the reason it matters, Destiny, is because if you're going to make arguments, there has to be an important test, which is, do you apply the same principles you're claiming to profess and believe in to cases where it undermines your partisan allegiance and your ideology, not only where it helps it. That's one of the key tests for determining the authenticity of your argument. And so if you don't think the 2020 protest movement was an insurrectionary movement against the United States government, there's no way to claim what January 6th was, especially since Trump could have done so much more to cause a coup that he did not do, because that wasn't his aim ever.
If you want to talk about applying the same standard, would you have been okay in the year 2000 if Gore refused to certify the vote because he didn't like what was happening in Florida?
A lot of Democrats did want him to do that.
Question? Glenn, answer the question.
Yeah, and I would have actually. Yes, a lot of Democrats were angry about that.
I'm not asking if a lot of I'm asking you would be okay personally if he refused to certify the vote.
I think there were two.
You want to answer the question? In 2016, would you have been okay if Biden?
Because if you really believe that an election is stolen, as the Democrats claim they did, then it is kind of odd to say, we're just going to concede that and allow George Bush to march into power, even though we believe that he actually stole the election.
Yes,
that is kind of an odd way to go about it.
It's not all at all. We live in a democracy. There are appropriate forums through which you can challenge.
Did they not battle that out in the courts,
and they lost. Once you had your day in court and you
Trump was battling it out in the court,
and he lost. Once you lose, anything past that is vigilantism. Vigilantism directed at the government to prevent the peaceful transfer of power to entrench your own power is an attempted coup. That's what he tried to do.
Trump did, though. He told them to be peaceful. He told them go and
we're not
be peaceful.
We're not talking about the peaceful protesters. And if he wanted them to be peaceful, he would have called in the National Guard as soon as they started rioting, but he didn't do that.
Yeah, You're talking about his use of the legal process, of the congressional and judicial process.
It was not
he
a legal
went
process.
And he tested. If he had ordered the military or some other FBI or any of those agencies, the CIA, to go and use violence on domestic soil in order to ignore those court rulings the way people do when they're trying to implement coups, you would have a good argument. He didn't do any of that. He invoked all of his legal rights in the judiciary and in the Congress. He lost and he walked out of the White House on January 20th. He did not have to be dragged out. He wasn't arrested by the military, which is what happens in coups. So much of this is because you only started paying attention to politics in 2016. You only live in the United States. You have no idea about history or anything that happens in other countries. You have no idea what a coup is. This is a coup.
Glenn, you bring that up. Glenn, you bring that up, and you're trying to use Hawaii as an example for something that was comparable, where both slates of electors were actually duly elected by the people there. In the 60s, Hawaii and South Carolina, these other historical examples that people go to for multiple slates of electors, are not at all comparable. Both of these things happened prior to 2016. There are no examples in U.S. history, or if you want to give me one, since you know so much history prior to 2016, give it to me. Is there any other examples in U.S. history where the president is telling the vice president to unilaterally not certify the vote? Has that ever happened before?
That's a totally separate question.
No,
from
that
whether
is
this
what
is a
happened
coup.
on January 6th.
It doesn't matter if it's the first time that it ever happened. Even if it's the first time or the 10th time, it's still not a coup or an insurrection. A coup or an insurrection is when you use violence and force in order to seize control of power outside of the legal process.
So a coup has to have. So if there's no violence, it can't be a coup.
Wasn't there violence? I saw violence.
Yeah, you need violence in order to be the coup. The
How
amount
much
of
violence do you
that
need?
happened on the Capitol on January 6th, the most amount of
25
violence
grams.
to the January 6th protesters, not from them. Again, not a single protester whipped out a gun, let alone used a gun. That is an extremely weird coup.
How many officers were injured? 140?
Wait.
Is that enough violence for you?
Well, here's a good question about who, like, staging a coup and phenomenon, and if a crowd becomes violent, or if someone directs the crowd to become violent. This is actually the next question on my list. Do you guys think that Trump was responsible for this? And before you answer, I want to play a couple of clips. We have clip 1 and 2. These are from Trump's speeches on the day. I think the first clip is before the violence kicked off. Maybe we can play that first.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. We can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel. But go home and go home in peace.
That second clip was from after the violence had become, and so he was kind of doing damage control, I think, at that point.
I just don't understand all of the insanely arbitrary caps that we're trying to create to try to say that it wasn't a coup. Well, there was violence, but there wasn't enough. There was a subversion of the democratic process, but it didn't end up working. Like, if the plan would have gone as Donald Trump wanted it to have gone, which is Vice President Pence unilaterally tossing out the Electoral College vote, and if Donald Trump would have retained power past when he was supposed to lose it, what is that if not a coup? What would you call that?
No one ordered those people, the few hundred that actually fought police, to do that.
That's great. What would you call that, though? If
Trump's
it would have
not been
happened,
charged.
no one said Trump's been charged with insurrection or inciting a
But
riot.
you say
Jack
he
Smith
can't-
especially did.
But we can't vote for him because they
What
say
would you
he's
call
guilty.
it if Pence would have unilaterally thrown out the vote and Trump would have held on to power for some weeks,
Trump
months
was
longer?
calling for a 10-day Senate investigation. That's why we were there.
That's great. What would have happened if Pence would have thrown out the vote?
No, that's a hypothetical. Trump wanted a 10-day investigation.
No, but
I don't care
he
what Trump
also wanted Pence to throw out the
Yeah, what would
electoral
have happened?
votes.
What would you
Him
have
and
called
Eastman
that?
were pushing for that.
Yeah, what would we have called that? Can I get a name for that? If you don't want to call it a coup or an insurrection, what would you call that?
Well, I'd call it taking Trump off the ballot and saying we can't vote for him.
I know you won't answer because you probably know he's guilty. That's fine. What about
I
you
know
or
he's
Glenn?
guilty.
Glenn, what would you call it if the president was able to entrench his power by asking his vice president to throw out the vote unilaterally, which is what he was trying to do? Do you want to deny the facts? Do you want to deny that it's a coup? What part?
A coup.
I think
You're lucky there wasn't a real coup.
Shows the weakness of the argument, but if that had happened, my guess is it would have ended up in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court would have made the decision about whether Mike Pence exercised his proper authority as vice president, and then Donald Trump, if he had run out of options, would have left the White House on January 20th without any need for military force or police force, exactly how he did. And I would have called that the exhaustion of all of the legal remedies available to the president in the event that he thinks that an
Exactly,
election
and
was
therefore
stolen.
it would have been just the way the Bush v. Gore thing played out.
Okay, if both of you guys
Exhausting
just
your
said that,
legal
if both of you
options,
guys-
getting up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court makes the determination.
Let Darren finish.